So bad, it's good.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? It's your old mate Slake back here again for another round of Hell at Loose. I've got a minor issue. What just happened there? I've got a, let's just check our button. Let's check this button. What does this do? Okay, so it shouldn't be doing that. Give me a quick second. I don't know why that button decided to do that just then. So I'll check my hotkeys out. There's my start recording, stop recording button. That's fine. Oh, we got switch to scene. Switch to scene. Show map mask. Mute and unmute. Huh. Well, for some reason, I've got an extra button there that I didn't map. So let's see what it's doing. So I'll see which scene it's switching to. Let's just have a quick look, see what this button does again. Stop that one. Didn't do it that time. Stop that one. Alright, well, I don't know what happened. Something happened. But anyway. Ladies, welcome back to the episode of JSmith TV. Hell Let Loose. So I'm about to jump onto the battlefield. I'm currently looking for a server. We're going to find a server that's got a good ping. It's just me and my lonely lonesome today. So we'll find that. Hopefully get joined by a bat later on. We're going to kick off with... Do I know anybody online at the moment? Let's see who are not online. We have one dude online. He's playing at a 235 millisecond ping. No way are we doing that. No, that's not going to happen. So let's go back to our server list. That's always the first part of the battle, isn't it? Finding a decent server to play on. We might kick off with a couple of shout outs while I sort this out. So let's do that. First up, we're going to give a shout out to... First shout out we're going to give out to goes to a good mate of mine that I've known for a long time. My longest internet friend. His name though he doesn't really need introduction, is JD777_3. Here's you, JD. Why did that music play? I have no idea what that music played. Let's try something again. Do I have... Well, no, that shouldn't have triggered that either. Let's try again. I don't know what it is. For some reason, my OBS is buggy. Let's give a shout out to... There's no one here? No. Let's give a shout out to Ixie then, while there's nobody here, because Ixie is loud. And I love you, Ixie. Man, we just need to put a limiter on your microphone in OBS and your volume will be fine, hey? Let's give a shout out to Ixie. This is going to blow my ears out. What happens? Oh, we're good. Let's try those again.
You doing heavy lifts again? Alright. Oh shit!
That's the one against
I
me.
snuck up right behind it. I'm in trouble.
Oh, Kixie, ladies and gentlemen, he is awesome. Still trying to get into a server. Let's give a shout out to... Let's give a shout out to Don't Scratch Your Twitch. I haven't seen her around for a while, but hey, she streams and she works hard at it. So, one for you, Don't Scratch Your Twitch.
That's supposed to be red? That is not red. Ah!
Fallout version of Minecraft, maybe. Who else have we got? We're in the queue, by the way. We have 5 players in the queue. All of them are before me. So, who else we got? Let's give a shout out to Fleming. I've given Fleming a shout out for a while. Last I saw Fleming, he was right in there with his Yakuza games. Let's see how he's going now. What you up to, Fleming?
See what I mean? That car didn't even touch me. The clipping in this game kind of sucks. That's probably the only thing.
Kinda does. Let's give a shout out to Luna while we're here as well, ladies and gentlemen. Luna Eclipse, the lovely Luna. 4 in the queue. That was violent.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
3 in the
Kill,
queue.
just in case. Guys, we did it! We freaking did it! We freaking days!
Nice one, Luna.
My heart, my heart, my heart, my heart. Oh my freaking gosh, guys. What the hell?
Gotta love those moments.
What the hell?
When you escape with a
I'm
little bit of health.
shaking. I'm sorry.
That's the
That was
noradrenaline
so
kicking
good.
in.
That was so
Anti-adrenaline
good.
chemical.
Hi.
Alright, we got maps loading, ladies. We're jumping back in. Let's do it. Game time. Remember to inspire, motivate, and reward a streamer just by saying g'day in chat. You can do your bit. Let's have a quick flick on the map mask. Make sure it's working great. Let's go pick a side. I've got no choice at the moment to join the United States. So we'll do that. Before it gets too involved, I just want to check this map mask, make sure it's working. That's working, that's working, that's working, that's working. Alright, jumping in now. Rock and roll. Who have we got? That's we got Easy's got 5 or 6, so let's try them. And what are we grinding today? Automatic rifleman or engineer? Let's stick with automatic rifleman for a while. I think we've finished grinding that out, I don't think. And let's go with engineer. This is kind of a useful class to go. And you guys got microphones? Mic check, mic check.
Hey, here.
Copy, sweet. Right, waiting on the map. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering why I haven't been streaming as much over the last couple of weeks, the reason being is I'm revamping the channel. I'm working on a lot of graphic stuff, a lot of video stuff, and some new logo stuff. Steam sale came and went. I spent a little bit of money, not too much, on getting some more content for the next year, and yeah, to build in with the new vision that I've got happening for the channel's overhaul. And we are in. It's my kit. Do I build stuff? No. Got no idea where the battlefield is at the moment. Copy. Keep your head down. Keep your head down, son. What are you shooting at? Now my squad communication seems a bit low, so I turn it real loud for a little bit. Let's see what we got. Options. Audio. You know, voice volume. Let's turn you up. Let's turn you up. And let's turn you up. There we go. Guys, that officer has left. Does anybody want the role?
Take it, man.
Copy. Map mask up, real quick. What's the button? This one. Redeploying.
Running on airhead.
I don't really like playing the role of officer, but it's early in the game. I'll do my bit. What kit have we got? Rifle. What's the difference? I've got less stuff on that one. No binoculars. Automatic.
Enemy the contact.
Oops, shoot the map. Sorry.
Check maps. Thanks for taking that role.
Enemy the contact.
Are you right, guys? Give me 2 seconds to get used to the people talking in my ear.
Yeah, no worries.
Take the airhead.
Bombing run on infantry mark. Warren squads.
I've spawned there.
Copy. There's a bombing run coming in. I can't see it at the moment because I'm spawning in. So in chat, let you know. Watch your maps.
Okay. Bravo! I will drop supplies on
I'm
you.
trying to find their Gary, but I can.
Build Gary.
Yeah, Vic, I can't hear my squad, mate. We've had one squad leader already resign. So can you just like turn it back a bit? Thank you.
Infantry Bravo.
Enemy Gary destroyed. I can't keep doing this with command. Free.
2 seconds.
Enemy Gary destroyed. It's too much talking for command.
Puma tank on the move, going down the road.
What am I looking at? I'm looking at a map. I'm looking at a map. Look for some ground that's gonna be a good.
That
for
Yoda
us.
shit really worth it.
Yes.
My throat is sore as fuck.
We're gonna circle around Bergstein, and we're gonna head for that trench over there. I'm gonna put an outpost down in a minute.
Anybody have eyes on that enemy tank?
I need to adjust my volumes again, guys. The command chat's real loud.
I'm gonna do a strafing run on point. Check for strafing run. Watch out, Psycho. Strafing
Me in
run,
the church.
come right at
Incoming
you.
strafing run, watch out.
Alright, cool. Got hit points.
First outpost down.
I was down.
We can build another Gary here. Yeah.
I got 2 in the church, but there's more.
Spawn heavy armor mid.
Thank you. We'll take it after we lose the medium.
Options, command chat's way too loud now. Where are we? Audio. Alright.
Nope. Yeah, enemy Puma
Market please.
and a heavy tank. I got Panther. Oh, that's
Once again, command chat is still really loud. Why is that?
Panther and Baba Mark.
I'm hearing a tank.
It's where I pinged. It's where I pinged.
Almost inside the church.
Is that Bravo tank accurate?
Yeah, he's moving backwards now. Moving east, backing up. I'm marking a tank, keeping it accurate here.
Already got me.
Yeah, those are accurate pings.
Oh, that's enemy already.
I'm dead.
Can we get recon on that?
I can't get back there yet. Too far.
Matt Master's still up, sorry about that. Pulling it down. Sorry, losing things up with mine, man. This is why I don't like going squad leader. The Matt Master does get stuck every now and then. If it does, guys, please let me know. new outpost is down.
Love squad, I will be putting a supply drop right next to you.
Squad away. Easy squad. Okay.
Recon plane will be going over right now.
Yeah, run to the church in a minute. Do that turn around. And watch out back to the observe monkeys. Boy!
Check maps. Lots of infantry.
Check your maps.
Especially south of Point.
Let's go to Gary. We're gonna go at Gary 1.
They're
Gary
digging
2,
in,
sorry.
we gotta hit them hard with arty or tanks or something. There's satchels in there.
I have a strafing run. I'm gonna do south.
45 seconds to the next outpost, guys.
Running us
We're on
out
the south
right
side.
now.
Gary, their opponents, Gary, is
Flares going up.
if we can put a marker there.
Precision strike on accurate marker.
Yeah, copy.
Right where the precision strike is going, that's where the enemy is.
Attack there, but keep an eye to your left, yeah? Remember, you just need to be within 200 meters of the point to be able to take it.
Around at that thing, there's a Gary there.
Okay, team, majority of the enemy seems to be coming from this area. They've probably got a Gary or something there. We're gonna attack there. We're gonna swing around the top, and come down around the hill and come back. Shit. Yeah, watch from top of the hill. This is why I don't like playing squad leader. You spend a lot of time looking at a map, and when I'm looking at the map, I have to have the map mask up, which doesn't help. Does not help the cause. We're gonna take this hill, guys. Move top of this hill. We're attacking that position there.
We need to hit them from the south so we can get a Gary. South and get a Gary going over there.
Where are we, the map mask? There we are. I can take this off again now.
Call it. We're gonna try and walk in behind you, okay?
Just be advised, we're in locked territory at the moment, so we cannot put down an outpost as yet.
Just
So
killed
let's
their
keep using
commander
Gary 2 for the moment.
on a Schwinn wagon.
Yep. Up this hill, guys. This is where they are. Top of the ridge.
We almost have a bomb gun ready, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna come with a supply truck.
I'm gonna put down a
Can we have a flare shot up right south of church or around somewhere south or southwest of church?
I put an outpost down near the Gary that'll speed up the spawn times.
What's that, man?
I put our outpost down near the Gary to help increase spawn time.
Dog mark for a tank attack.
Watch out for
It's
strafing
moving
runs
up.
outside of church.
Button 7.
Flares up.
What?
Stricken.
I'm guessing that's our enemy garrison right there.
Litchi, you guys, yeah, take it out. If you see a, look for the Gary up there in that area.
I haven't seen one.
Just hold your position. Look for people move. Look for movement and trace the movement back if you can. That mask is still up there.
Where did you drop the tank?
Gonna get you guys to move over that way. Move towards that line.
Can we get a heavy top spawn? We're gonna flank around.
Oh, hell no.
Got a vehicle up here as well.
Sorry, TK.
Listen to me. Heavy top spawn, please, good sir. Back up your hole.
Where'd you need top spawn?
We got an APC up here. Oh, sorry, Jeep. We got a Jeep up here.
Gotta get that tank.
That supply
that's
truck
your-
is in the way. Can you move it?
Another flares
Yep.
up.
I think it's because you have supplies in the way.
Behind us, guys, behind us. On the bunker, behind us.
Should be out of the way now.
Okay.
If not, I think the supplies are in the way.
Yeah.
Enemies coming up behind us.
You dropped a medium.
I didn't drop that.
See us on the Gary. How to live, hold up, mate. Hold up, hold up, hold up. I would just spread out, guys, in a line and move together. Okay, said all.
Enemy guessing down.
Don't move too far ahead. How to live? We want to concentrate our bullets in one area. Get on top of that hill again.
I'm gonna try to cut the commander a break.
Can you do a heavy and middle spawn then? We just redeployed to there.
Keep going towards the move marker. Garrison on me. Garrison on me. Help me dismantle it, guys. Help me dismantle it. Nice work, Litchi. Okay, keep moving towards that move marker. Be aware, the enemy's probably knowing we're coming.
Big head.
We're gonna move slow. I'm gonna use my monoculus, try and scout out for you.
Wiener.
He just called you gay.
Hold your position, stay safe for a moment.
He said you were talking to the boy.
Alright, keep pushing. Watch out, Ferrari. We've probably been spotted by somebody.
So nose guys.
Enemy supplies coming down at 1:30. Aim for that position, but carefully. On me, guys, on me. Get closer. Alright, got our Gary in sight. Come give me a hand, takes Gary out. Take him out, and take out the enemy. Take out the Gary and take out the enemy. We need to all here on this point where my body is. Do we have a medic? Respawning and running back. Take out that Gary. Use a rocket launcher if you got one. Satchel if you got one. If not, get rid of throw grenades at it. Take out that guy defending it as well. Let's try that again all together, as a team.
Copy that. Someone kill that tank. Everybody should have a bazooka.
Can we get artillery on top of that? Sorry, wrong shot. Can we get artillery on top of that hill where I put the request mark? There's garrisons up there.
We don't have artillery.
We don't have our artillery until we take this point, which we'll probably not.
Oh shit. Alright.
Our smart class commander decided
We have another crack at the hill, guys. They know we're coming this time around, so get ready with it. Make sure you've got smoke, be prepared to use it. If you got grenades, remember they're great for violence. Literally don't get too far ahead. Hey mate, come give us a hand and take us artillery. Sorry, there's this Gary upstairs, there's Gary out here.
George Martin for that garrison.
Only got 50 supplies left.
Fucking jump the thing. And that's what a gun squad leader, you spend so much time looking at the map. That literally will give you a thing. I didn't get anybody but I died 6 times. That's okay. I did my bit. That's the main thing. Alright, what am I looking at? That's right, make sure that the is going well here. Shit, turn my captions on. There we go. Captions are on. Alright, round 2, fight! I ain't going squad leader this round. Not available? What's going on here? Ah. Again? Okay, fuck me. Let's try to get to another one. Alright. Ah, shit. I'll keep going that one then. Where do you want squad leader?
I need a supply. Buddy.
Oh, we need a squad leader.
Uh-oh.
Fuck me, who keeps making all these squads and then bailing? Nothing here about that mask. Alright, so we're good. Midnight, you're in the truck. Are you going to be putting down an outpost to get there? Maybe try to spawn in and try and get there some other way. Like that. There's another truck here, I think. Thank you. Thank you. One more. There's two more to your right. Not sure they're coming towards us. Two more to your left. Four more to your left. Jump in, guys, we're going when we're full. Hurry up, team, 6 seats left. 5 seats left. Move it, gun, move it, D's. Last two. Hurry up. Alright, mate, you're walking otherwise, gun. Go, boss, go. One more seat.
Hi, hi.
Put the OP down.
Copy.
Midnight drop OP.
This guy knows the map well.
I got 100 supplies in this field where I'm running from. If you want to build a
Just
carry.
watching the map real quick as they're driving.
Or prep for one.
They started capping AA network, guys, so we're going to get in that circle real quick.
One ping.
Alright. What's going on here? Stream quality just dropped. I'm not sure why. Check this now. What's just going on? Just getting all blurry for some reason. Maybe it's just my phone. Disabling preview for much, so that helps.
Left side's pretty good.
No, I didn't see what happened. What happened to Donald Trump? What happened, Potsky? No shit, is he alive or dead? So that's gonna make it popular now, isn't it? Jeez. Move back from that wall, I've got too many personnel mines there. Move back from that wall, I've got too many personnel mines there. Gunter. Crazy. How long ago did this happen, man? Stop to see my first any personnel mine blow up right in front of me. Fuck me. Well, we knew it was gonna happen.
Be down, please.
We knew it was gonna happen, eh? I mean, that's one of those things that you kind of expect a lot of, like, that much, how do I say, fire and passion around that whole left and right situation happening in
Midnight?
America at the moment. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking we gotta stay on the left side here. Seems like they're flanking pretty hard.
I no matter what your politics is, I don't believe in I don't believe in assassination. You know, you don't believe in that. Quick question too, mate. Is my screen all blurry to you, or is it clear? Oh, you there, Potsky? Got a I can't tell from my monitor screen. My screen's got all blurry. Enemy to our left, enemy to our left. And for some reason, my chat client keeps popping behind. I wonder if, you know what, this had an update recently. Let's have a quick look and see what it's done to my actual video. There's the problem. I wonder what else it's messed with. Medic! Medic! Wait for a mate to grab me. Oh, looks like it's come good. Well, that's pretty big fucking news, man. That's pretty big news.
You think you can get an OP in E6?
So the guy that tried to do the shooting, well, the attempted pop a quick painkiller while we're here. Coffee and painkillers for breakfast. Wow, I mean, shit always goes down history when an assassin happens on a president, you know, and the same move happened in Japan. Japan doesn't get political assassinations as often as America does. I mean, guns aren't a culture over here. So, who was he, do they know? Like, have they released that information yet? It's been like a few hours, yeah? I mean, hey, pick one, really, isn't it? If you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump, if you're pro-Trump or pro-Biden, I think both sides have motives that they, you know what I mean? There's quite a few motives you got. Then you got the overseas mob, you know, a whole group of them happening at the moment. What do you want us midnight? You want to set up Gary 1 or back on Gary 2? Yeah, well, that's it. Did he get caught on TV? Taking Gary 1s, I see you're there. Crazy. I'm surprised that there's not much footage out there. Hey, he's at a rally, they're building cameras and mobile phones and all of that. I'm guessing it's all over the news. Yeah? Yeah, I could take that Discord, man. Are you on my Discord at the moment? I have to let's take over there. Let me know when you register on Discord, and I'll... Gonna try and take this tank out. But I'll get your permissions happening so we can get you on there. First rule of tank crew, never jump out of your tank. You let me know when you're registered. Copy. Alright, alright. Alright, let me finish this round, I'll have a look at it, yeah? This is recorded off of TV or? Off of YouTube or? Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah. I've got a video link software I might censor as well, yeah? If there's anything that needs censoring. Nice lights, bro! Oh well. We do have... I don't have a repair tool. Shit, so blow the other way. Knew that was gonna happen. It's not TOS? Okay. Yeah, well I can edit it. We can edit it. We can edit out audio as well. But yeah, I'm interested to see it. This Asquith leader, by the way, absolutely useless. He's level 31. He's absolutely useless. But I'm not focused on him at the moment, I'm focused on you, so I'm only half my health in the game. So when he survived it, how badly injured was he? Was he like, are we talking life support, intensive care, or are we talking in the leg, are we talking they winged him? That's just a scratch, or just his ear though? Waiting for you, impulse. I can hear you.
You got shot in the penis. I'm gonna fix that for you.
Thanks, mate.
Alright, there you go. Go get him.
Thanks, mate. Here come the conspiracy theorists. Hey. In come the conspiracy theorists. Oh, he meant to get shot.
This time
He
you got
got
shot in the
publicity.
ass.
I'll be able to shit sideways. No, coming back from that last shot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't reckon. If I was President Trump, if I was anybody with a little bit of common sense, let's face it, he must have a little bit of common sense. I don't think I'd let anybody try and take a sniper shot at my ear just to increase my publicity ratings with an automatic weapon from a rooftop. I don't think. Yeah, nah. Someone that was meant. No matter who was behind it, that was meant. So it wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna, get his publicity ratings up, give him a bullet. But it will. You know what? Even if it did come from the lefties, even if it did come from the lefties, Biden wouldn't have had anything to do with it. That man has enough problems trying to hold his bowels in while he's fucking while he's in public speaking. I'm guessing that person that died, that was due to a bullet, not due to being trampled or anything like that. That sucks. Done it, and that sucks. It's always the people that, you know, are just in the wrong place at the wrong time. America's gone crazy for a while. Tank on my ping. Tank on ping, moving left to right. Marky, thank you so much for jumping in the lurking, bro. Wow, man. So how many... America, yeah? How many assassinations or attempted assassinations have you had now, like, all up? Like, Lincoln wasn't the first one, was he? He was like the second or the third, yeah? He wasn't the first one? Like, attempted... or... otherwise, you know what I mean? I was successful. I just love putting these suckers down. Hold up, bro. Hold up, I'll come spoil ya. Hold up, I'll spoil you upstairs. Oh, well maybe not. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Is this the first time someone's had a go at Trump? Oh, here's the thing, it's either somebody who's against him and they're because they don't like his politics, or they're against him because they used to be for him but they feel let down by something. You know, it's one or the other. It's either coming from within his ranks or not within his ranks. So I'm going to go with not within his ranks, you know, because that's the most obvious. Spawn on the outpost, mate. Are you ready? Good. You ready to do something about your microphone midnight? In this game, no one cares if you're a male or female or even in between. That's good, got a microphone, you use it. Why is 4 not working? Fuck me. Oh, I hate using. I hate that little. Yeah, they mucked it up. Go on, mate. Let's walk onto that. Oh yeah, add it. Walk on this one as well. Oh, sorry, mate. Mate, you come up behind me too quick. Sorry about that. Didn't know you were there. Almost made it. Almost made it. I didn't punish you, mate. This guy gave you one already, naturally, but I didn't do it. Well, what will of hell let loose has to say about this? Let's find out. So did any of you guys hear about Donald Trump? Oi! It's a bit close. Shit. Medic! Medic! Yeah, I knew that would get him. Yeah, don't punish me, mate. You saw me place those anti-personnel mines. I didn't punish you for your grenade. So please don't punish me. Outpost is too hot. They're camping it. Mike's gonna hit the news. I'll hit the news in a second. We've almost lost this round, so we might do that. Away. Why can't I jump that wall? That's not the way to go. Midnight, come around the back, mate. Don't go that way. Come back and back me up. This match is almost at an end. I got a feeling it'll be ended pretty soon. There's a lot of lack of communication on our side, and that does not help in a game like this. Wrong button. 5. Oh shit, my guy's still there. Cool. Where's that coming from? Our truck. Whoops, don't shoot our truck. Oh, headshot. Man. Where's your Gary? No one in here at the moment, help! Come on mate, back us up in the church. At least I got a few this time around. Other door. Which means the guy's gonna be probably over behind a building across the road. Oh, damn. Much longer we got? 49 minutes if they can't catch this. Hey, tank crew, send a round down the middle of the church, mate, to the front door. You guys send some high explosive down to the front door?
Copy that. Working on it.
Need to go to the top one, come back to the bottom. No one. Alright, back to the murder hole. Why can't I place them here? I'm a church. Is that why? No anti-personnel mines in a church? Is that what you're saying? That sucks. But down here, no. Here he comes. Oh, mate. We might pivot. Who's the guy that gave me? Here, give him that. Give you. There we go. Okay, done. Personal stats. How do we go? 9, 14. Happy with that. Promoted. Where's my anti-personnel mines? 4. 4 of those. I love those mines. They're awesome. Okay, we're going to leave out of the server. I'm going to Alt-Tab. We're going to head back to the front of the house. And we're going to go to just chatting for a moment, I think. I think we might have changed the scene. Let's hit the news up. What do you got? What's happening on the news? Have a quick look. Search Donald Trump. A man with a rifle was seen on a rooftop minutes before shots were fired at a Donald Trump rally in Pennsylvania, a witness has told the BBC. Greg, the witness, said the man had crawled on top of a building just outside the event in Butler County on Friday evening. He said he pointed the gunman out to police. I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? The next thing you know, 5 shots ring out. The former president was immediately swarmed by Secret Service agents and escorted away. He was seen with blood in his face and later said a bullet had pierced his ear. The gunman was shot dead, officials later confirmed. Greg told the BBC he saw Secret Service agents shoot the man. Greg was listening from outside the rally and said he saw the gunman around 5 minutes into Mr. Trump's speech. We noticed a guy bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away, he said. He had a rifle. We could clearly see a rifle. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police did not know what was going on. Greg said he tried to alert the authorities for 3 or 4 minutes, but he thinks they probably could not see the gunman because of the slope of the roof. Why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here, he asked. This is not a big place. This is the BBC. It's already starting to sound like a conspiracy. He said later saw the agents shoot the gunman. They crawled up on the roof, they had the guns pointed at him, made sure he was dead, and that was it. It was over. Anthony Guglielmi, I don't know how to say that, communications chief for the Secret Service, said its personnel neutralized the shooter and quickly responded with protective measures. And let's face it, neutralize, that's not a very... That's not... Neutralized isn't when you take somebody out. Neutralized is when you take them down, but when you render them ineffectual. I mean, you know, dispatching the shooter is one thing, neutralizing could be attained with handcuffs, you know? The incident is being investigated as an attempted assassination. An audience member has also been killed and 2 others critically injured, the Secret Service added. Alright, so it's not just one person, it was a few people hurt. Another witness who was inside the event dropped to the ground, described dropping to the ground after hearing 5 gunshots in quick succession. Jason, another witness, told the BBC, "We see the Secret Service jump on Trump to protect him. Everyone on the ground dropped down very quickly. Then he stood up and put his fist up in the air." That's going to be great for his ratings. He was a little bloody, his ear was bleeding, he stood up and he was alive and breathing. An emergency department doctor at the rally told CBS News, the BBC's US partner, that he treated a crowd member for a gunshot wound to the head. "I heard the shots, I thought it was firecrackers to begin with," he said. Someone over there was screaming, "He's been shot, he's been shot." The guy had spun around and was jammed between the benches. Day guy, I don't know. There was a lot of blood. I don't know who he's referring to. Okay, that was the BBC. Let's have a look what CNN had to say. Which is the other. I don't really know at the moment. But what's happening? X. It's up on X. CNN. It's a video. I just want to read it. The Guardian. President says no place this kind of violence, while George W. Bush called attack cowardly. The immediate reaction to the shooting at a Donald Trump rally today was the condemnation of violence from political figures and an early swell of conspiracy theories on social media. That's going to happen because it's the internet. Trump appeared, it's been happening since before the internet. Trump appeared to have been struck in the incident while one audience member and the shooter were killed. The incident was being investigated as an assassination attempt, Joe Biden said on X. "I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for his family and for all those who are at the rally. As we wait for the information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it." In remarks on Saturday, Biden said, "I tried to get hold of Donald. He is with his doctors. Apparently he's been doing well. I'm planning on talking to him shortly. I hope when I get back to the telephone." When asked by reporters, Biden said he did not know if it was an assassination or attempt. Biden said it's not appropriate. It was an assassination attempt. They took a shot at him. Vice President Kamala Harris said she'd been briefed on the shooting. "Doug and I are relieved that he's not seriously injured," she said. "We are praying for his family and as we assault an abhorrent act and do our partnership." We are praying. I mean, you know, people say thoughts and prayers all the time, and it sounds a bit trite. It's something that you say without any real thoughts and prayers. I mean, trying. Have they reached out to the family? That's what I'd like to know. Have they reached out to the family and tried to offer them some support? You know what I mean? Like direct support, not thoughts and prayers. I don't know, but I reckon that'd be better. Rocking up, you know, and knocking on the door and saying, "Hey," and giving someone a hug is much. You know, I don't want anyone's thoughts and prayers. You know, when I go, someone go give my mum a hug. You know, that's what I want. Anyway, we must all condemn this abhorrent act and do our part to ensure that it does not lead to more violence. What's we got? Marla Maples, Trump's ex-wife, the mother of Trump's 4th child, Tiffany, said on X, "We ask for prayers for my daughter's father, prayers for prayers of God." Okay. Those who want to stop are in fear of the power of God. Separate church from state. Thank you. Lawmakers on the left and right be uniting in condemning political violence. Violence targeting any political party or political leader is absolutely acceptable. No papers available in the United States. I've been briefed on the situation. That's a lot of nothing. Former Congressman Liz Cheney described reports of shooting as horrifying. Well, yeah. Violence of any kind has no place in American politics, she said. But it's part of your game of politics. Like a question before, there's been a lot of assassinations over there. There is a place for it, unfortunately. It's made its own place. We are grateful for the reaction of Secret Service and other law enforcement and pray for the former president and all that's injured. Laura and I are grateful President Trump is safe following the cowardly attacker's life, George Bush said, and we commend the men and women of the Secret Service for their speedy response. Who else have we got? Advocacy groups, here we go, the gun control, I was waiting for this, including those folks who also shared statements concerning the shooting. This is an accidental tragic reminder of our nation's gun violence crisis. Violence of any kind has no place in we're all decrying violence. We're not afraid to go to war. There's no fighting in the war room, after all. No one is safe. Guns. I'm Australian. Americans think we don't have a gun culture. We do. It's just very different from your gun culture. In saying that, gun control is a good thing. We have a gun culture in Australia. It's very controlled. Yes, we have bad people with guns, but there's enough gun controls that there's not enough bad people with guns to make it a daily threat, i.e. school shootings and shit. So while I'm pro gun control, I'm also against the idea of removing them entirely. A gun is a gun. It's got one design behind it, and that is to kill stuff, whether it be animals on your farm that are pests, whether it be the humane, the way to put down an animal on a farm if you're a long, long way from a vet, or whether it be, to defend your farm from bad people that rock up. In the country, that's different. In the city, you don't really need them, Our problem in Australia isn't guns, it's knives. So, it's not represent the values of America. Well, that's what you tell us, but it's not what you're showing the world, America. No offense, but there's been a lot of political violence in America. Japan's had two assassination attempts since its time, since World War II. Talk about gun control. That's true. You guys do have weak gun laws. Condemnation of violence and thoughts and prayers of politicians and activists. Here we go. Thoughts and it's all bullshit. Social media. Okay, here we go. The word stage and the phrases they miss and how do you miss began trending on X and the impeached, arrested, convicted, shot, still standing. That's his ratings are pretty good now. You must admit, but I don't think that's his own plan. No one would take a shot their own ear, right? Pierced his ear though. So what gun was he shot with? Let's find out. Do you have that information on the internet? Let's find out. What gun was he shot with? What gun was he shot with? There's enough people in America that will see the video. I'm pretty sure this info will be out. Will shooting at Trump really change his view on gun control? That's an interesting question. Will shooting change his view on gun control? I don't know. What else have we got here? I don't know. You tell me. But I got a feeling I might end the stream early and go look at this information. You can't see what he was shot with. I guess the other thing to think of for the conspiracy theorists out there is, what's the wound? I mean, they're saying it came from a semi-automatic weapon. The bullet shot pierced his ear. I mean, was it a very small amount of C4 that was planted in his ear? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Gunman, 1 of 10 he's dead, 2 and critical. Australia's got some news. What do they say? Alright, let's have a quick look at what's happening. Let's have a look at this video, hey, that we got. Alright, we're going to close down the game. Let's listen in on this. Alright, I'm going to add an audio source in. I'm surprised that's not coming through. Why is that not coming through? Probably because I've got it muted. Let's find out what's going on here.
Normally this area is it's very.
Okay, let's just fix these sound settings up. Why is the auxiliary not coming through? Boots for the cable.
Reopen at some point soon. Obviously, these are the necessary precautions the Secret Service is having to take in an extraordinary incident, even though this is hundreds of
So
kilometres
we're listening at the moment to the news. Whoops. That just went, that stopped for some reason. Just went offline for some reason. Let's find some more news we can listen in on. What else have we got? News live. Back to Google. As I try and work out what happened, I listen to get some more information. What happened? News live. Trump shot. We got CNN. Let's go CNN. Start with. So police presences. Where's your live TV feed? I'm not currently available in my area. Okay. Okay. What else we got? NHK. Let's try NHK. Alright. Do we have live news? Let's have a look. They're talking about Japan's future farmers. There we go. Yeah, not too worried about that. It's not the news at the moment. That's why I don't like watching Japanese news very much. It's not very informative. Who else have we got? Who else have we got? Let's have a quick look. What else is happening here? Google. Let's go YouTube. Aspen Goals made a video about it. Let's have a quick look for live. Start with NBC.
In the area, so I ran to try to get them, to get help.
Was this the individual that we believe was deceased?
Yes. I ran. I jumped over the barrier that was there. I ran up into the bleachers, and there was a towel that the people had. I took the towel and I pushed it against the deceased head, and just to try to, as all I think about doing was try to, help them, but my efforts were in vain.
Yeah, Rico, you went to what was supposed to be a rally. It's supposed to be a fun thing for, the party and candidate faithful, and it turns to this. These things sometimes take a long time to sink in, to know how close you were to danger. But have you seen any of the video, and just share with me your thoughts?
My thoughts are for the family. My thoughts are for the ones that were lost tonight in an act that was senseless and cowardless, all because of a feeling that one would have against an individual. No one had to lose their lives. You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom to assemble. You have the freedom. You can go protest the fact that President Trump was there. Okay, that's fine. But to try to kill, to shoot into a crowd of thousands of people, I can't fathom that. But my heart
it's pretty wrong.
When did you
unreal.
When did you realize the former president had been shot?
I did. Secret Service protects the president.
So they surrounded him as they're supposed to do.
They were yes, they did their job. My job was to get to the victims and to the people. I mean, that's what I felt my job was to do.
Are you attending the Republican National Convention this week?
No.
All right. Well, Rico, thank you so much for. Yeah, go ahead.
Unless they call me up and say we want you to attend.
He looks pretty. Hey, he looks pretty
okay.
confident, doesn't he?
Listen, thank you for talking to us.
He's got that look in his face that's like it's pure poster.
It's awful to hear, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
All right, Garrett Haig covers former President Trump, and Garrett
He'd be thinking right now, wouldn't he?
posted tonight on Truth Social. He filled in a lot of the blanks for us. Give us a sense of what he wrote.
That's right, Lester. While Donald Trump's campaign has been all but silent tonight, the candidate himself has been speaking out on Truth Social, in which he describes the incident from his perspective, talking about being up on stage and saying that he was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of his right ear. He says, "I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place," he said. "So I realized then what had happened." Lester, the former president also thanks law enforcement and offers his condolences to the person who was killed at the rally and another, he says, who was badly injured. I think we now know that there were 2 people who were badly injured. He also talks about the idea that he says it's incredible that an act like this can take place in our country, and says that even he knew nothing about the shooter at the time. That has been the only communication we have gotten from Donald Trump directly. What more we've been able to piece together has come from his son, Donald Trump Jr., who said on his social media that he had spoken with his father and that he was in good spirits, and from a statement combined from the RNC and from the Trump campaign about the convention set to get underway in Milwaukee on Monday that you were just describing, essentially saying that the convention will move forward and that Donald Trump looks forward to seeing people there, some 50,000 people expected to descend on Milwaukee. That's most of what we know about the former president's condition right now. We have no indication that he's been discharged from the hospital, no indication that he's returned to his plane or left the Pennsylvania area. He had nothing on his official calendar tomorrow. We were not expecting to see him pop up anywhere on Sunday. And on Monday, obviously, with the convention getting underway, we did expect to hear, perhaps by some point early Monday, who his choice for vice presidential running mate was going to be. There had been a lot of speculation, obviously, coming into this weekend, the last before the convention, that announcement could have come at today's rally. I guess now we will never know. But the nomination of the VP and of the nominee, the president, if you will, Donald Trump, is set to take place on Monday. So we will have to know that name at some point. How that announcement goes forward, in what capacity it goes forward, are one of the thousands of political questions that are going to come out of this moment, something unlike which we have ever seen before in American politics. I can tell you that one of Donald Trump's most senior campaign advisors, his de facto campaign manager, Chris LaCivita, who was with him at this rally in Pennsylvania, has also posted on social media recently, and I think it's a bit of a preview of what we're going to hear from the campaign, and certainly what we're hearing from the kind of greater MAGA universe of Trump supporters. He writes, Chris LaCivita, the campaign manager, writes, "For years, even today, leftist activists, Democratic donors, and now even Joe Biden," he alludes to a comment from the current president, he says, "have made disgusting remarks and descriptions of shooting Donald Trump. It's high time they be held accountable for it. The best way is through the ballot box." So at least the campaign manager, and Lester, I suspect soon the greater campaign apparatus and Republican Party, I think was going to take this moment to turn the language that we've been using collectively about this campaign, the stakes of it, on its head, and try to use it as a way to say, look, the temperature has to come down.
It looks pretty charged, doesn't it?
And that somehow, as LaCivita says, those on the left should be punished.
It looks really commercially charged,
what
doesn't it?
happened to Donald Trump today.
Garrett, does the former president typically go home, or does he sleep on the road when he's on these campaign trips?
No, Lester, he almost never sleeps on the road. Donald Trump prefers to sleep at his own properties. So depending on where he is in the country, we often see him either return to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, to his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, or to Trump Tower in New York City, or to a Trump property, either in a place like a Trump hotel property, either in a place
That's
like
it, on the road, so I'm picking a band, yeah?
Vegas. It was our understanding he'd be going back to one of the Trump properties on the East Coast tonight, most likely Bedminster, his golf club in New Jersey. From there, he would travel to Milwaukee. Whether that plan changes tonight, I think is an open question. Obviously, Mar-a-Lago, all these properties are secured. We've heard from the NYPD tonight that they're sending extra resources to Trump Tower. All of these were properties that were secured by the Secret Service when Donald Trump was president. I can't speak to which ones are more secure than others, but I can say that obviously Mar-a-Lago is a private club, but it's a functioning, members-only club. So Donald Trump lives in a separate portion of that when he is there. At Bedminster, typically much fewer staff, much smaller footprint, less folks around. you know, I would be speculating, but I can imagine you would probably want to be at one of these smaller, more easily protected locations here tonight, maybe less likely to go back to a place like Mar-a-Lago, where other folks are likely to be there tonight.
Yeah. All right, Gary Hake, we appreciate it. Thanks very much. Our senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins us with her latest reporting. We understand President Biden is on the move this evening.
It is unusual to see the president traveling very late at night, but these circumstances have warranted that in his judgment. He will be leaving his Rehoboth Beach, Delaware residence and traveling back to the White House tonight. We expect that he will arrive here in Washington after midnight, returning to the White House sometime around 12:30 in the morning. This is a change in his schedule. It is absolutely as a result of the incident today. We heard from the president publicly in two forms already tonight. First, a written statement, and then, as you were in the chair earlier, when he spoke to the small group of reporters with him in Delaware, known as the Traveling Press Pool, and he addressed the concerns about this incident and said that he was trying to reach former President Trump to speak to him directly and personally by phone. They had not done so at that point. He described how he has been briefed by the head of the Secret Service, his Secretary of Homeland Security, and also other officials, including his Homeland Security advisor within the White House.
His Secret Service guys are ducking more than he is, and he's not moving with them. He's still making a statement, which is, yeah, I get what he's doing, but by the same token, he's putting the lives of those men at risk by not complying and moving. You know what I mean?
Saying it cannot happen in America, should not happen in America. So with that as the backdrop, the president will be traveling back here tonight. We don't have specifics about how his schedule might change further. He certainly had plenty of events coming up in the days ahead. So that will be kind of a piece-by-piece moment as they assess the status of the investigation. I expect the president would want to have additional briefings, and by coming back to Washington, he could speak directly with some of the officials who are based here. Separately, I've been doing reporting that really began before this incident took place about changes coming at the Secret Service because of the Trump candidacy, going from former president who has a certain level of Secret Service detail to the status of being the presumptive nominee, about to be formally the nominee of the Republican Party, and the fact that they had made plans to increase the size of his protective detail and the teams around him because of the change in campaign pace and because of the necessities of travel. That certainly is borne out by these awful events today. In addition, 3 plane loads of chartered aircraft, 3 planes carrying Secret Service personnel traveled yesterday from their various assignments to Milwaukee for the convention, where they were intended to be going for a few purposes. Of course, all the related security for the convention itself, but also including the detail in waiting for the running mate selection, depending on the choice made by the former president about who he will run with on the ticket. And so preparing for that person's immediate family to be protected by Secret Service, adding another protectee in the sphere of what the Secret Service does. So these are some of the moving parts that are happening. Big questions, of course, about how does the political calendar change because of that, what's happening with the investigative pieces, learning many more details about who has been harmed today, the innocent victims who have been caught up in this, as well as a real medical status on the former president, and any information that we can gain through our reporting and with our law enforcement reporting colleagues about the suspected attempted assassin here, the gunman responsible. All of that unfolding on a Saturday night in a steamy Washington as we are trying to learn more details. For the president to be back here, that of course gives him easy access to convene meetings with his officials, and we'll stay on it as there are additional developments. Of course, the Secret Service provided some details that you've discussed at length tonight, having covered many Trump rallies when he was president and when he was a candidate in the last cycle. These are such well-attended events, huge crowds often, and covering events for the current president, President Biden, where he is out on the campaign trail. The security always includes a lot of screening, and that's why it was so notable that we were able to report that this gunman taken out and neutralized in the
Someone tried taking out
law
Trump.
enforcement by the Secret Service was outside that perimeter. Many questions still to be explored and investigated.
A couple of hours ago, someone else shot
President
Trump.
Biden will be returning here tonight, and we hope to have an update on whether he has.
So just taking a break, hell let loose, check out what's going on.
All right, Kelly, thanks. We're going to try to shed a little more light on what you're
Polsky
talking
told
about
me
there.
so.
We're going to show you some new video our team has obtained. We want to warn you it's disturbing. If you look at the blurred part of your screen, that appears to show the suspect's body at the scene of the shooting. NBC News confirmed from multiple law enforcement officials the suspect is male. We also learned the suspect is dead. We have not confirmed his identity yet, but this, as you can see, is an elevated position which would be
Because gunshots are against TOS.
What officials have been reporting that this shooter was operating from a superior, a higher ground, if you will, or in this case.
Let's put the link in if you guys want to follow along. Put the link in the chat.
The
But when I blur it out,
at a pretty good clip.
what we're going to do right now.
Information by the hour, so we'll continue to do that. I want to bring back retired ATF Special Agent.
No, I haven't.
Jim, what do you make of that video?
Well, it's really surprising, Lester. I mean, one of the things that shocked me first in this event is when we learned that it was a long rifle shot. We haven't seen long rifle attack on politicians really.
Here you are.
Since the 60s.
Here's the link to I'm watching directly.
Was Dr. King in '68, and of course John F. Kennedy. But they were rifle shots. But every other attack on Reagan, the two attacks on President Ford, the attack on George.
This is why it's disgusting. Check this out. They're so used to. They're so used to. No worries, mate.
The Secret Service has always had.
No worries. See you in a bit.
I was never on a Secret Service detail.
Like
I was on a number when I was in ATF.
They're talking about
years, where they didn't have
how long rifle attacks are unusual. Like other attacks are more usual. Like shit, how bad is it over there to be president?
Or shed or barn or whatever that is, a couple hundred yards away is not already have been commanded by the Secret Service and the police working with them. It's very surprising to me. My question that I want to find out is what was the garb of the killer, or what was he wearing? He killed a man at the rally, and he tried to kill President Trump. What was he wearing? Was he wearing a tactical outfit that maybe some of the law enforcement members mistook that he was supposed to be there, that he looked
Jim,
like an agent?
When we played the tape, I have noticed, so you hear kind of a rapid gunfire. It sounds in the background, and then there's a pause, and then we hear another shot, and people scream. I presume that other shot is down the shooter. I'm making a presumption here.
No, we're not hearing rifle shots at the moment. Yes, that's all right. They've been taken out, obviously.
Did you pick up on that as well?
Yes, I think you're right. It's the distance. It's the distance from the microphones. The CAT team, you'll see that the two agents that are walking around on the dais there in the tactical garb, they're part of the Secret Service CAT team, CAT, Counterattack on Terrorist Team. And they'll have long rifles, and they'll have members, long rifle teams on top of buildings. I think you showed pictures of them earlier just on some feed. And they'll have a scope, a bipod, binoculars, telescope. They're two-man teams, and they're watching, and they can take the long shot. And that was likely their response when they picked up a shooter. That's their training all the time. And, they're on the roof of the White House, and they're on all the high ground whenever a protectee is moving. And I think Evie mentioned it earlier, that sometimes if they don't have enough members of the team, especially in campaign years when there's a lot of candidates and so forth, they'll use a state police SWAT, a major city SWAT team, local SWAT team to get up there and do that. So I'm just really surprised that there was a building that someone could get on within rifle range.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean,
that's one of the many.
Were they doing their job?
Certainly come to light, I guess, in the coming hours here. I want to go back to our senior White House correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly, we've been talking about President Biden's statement earlier. You've got an update on that.
In just the few moments that we have not been talking, Lester, we've now been advised that President Biden did reach former President Trump by phone. They have now had a conversation. President Biden earlier in the evening had said he had attempted to reach him, likely during the time that the former president was undergoing whatever medical evaluation may be taking place. We now know from the White House they have spoken. And he has also spoken with the governor of Pennsylvania and an official from Butler County, which is the location where this incident took place. So the president working the phones to make contact with his predecessor, who is also his current rival, and to make that human connection while also reaching out to the local and state officials who are directly affected by this. We expect within a few minutes President Biden will be departing from his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, to begin making the trip back here to Washington. He had said he wanted to make that connection. He has now done so, and tomorrow we are told that he will also have, once back here at the White House, an updated briefing on all of the investigative pieces that between now and tomorrow, perhaps there'll be some of those blanks filled in as the president will want to talk to his top officials who are working to try to identify more details about what happened, who was involved, what motivations or warnings, if any, might have been detected in advance, and what the next steps will be. So the president on the move tonight, the former president, and he's speaking, and more briefings to come. That's the latest we have from here, Lester.
All right, Kelly, thanks very much. David McCormick is the Republican nominee for a Senate seat in Pennsylvania. He was at the rally in the front row there. Sir, can you tell us how close you were to the president?
Yeah. Good evening, Lester. You know, I don't know, probably 20, 30 feet maybe. I was right to the right of President Trump in the first row there, and he came out and announced me and said, "Hey, why don't you come up on the stage?" And I started to get up and go on the stage, and then he said, "No, I'll have you come up later." And then within a minute or two, the shooting started. And, you know, there were, I don't know, 6 or 7 shots. And it was pretty clear right away it was a gun, and people dropped. And obviously the president went down, and the Secret Service was on top of him. And then he eventually stood up, and the Secret Service sort of had a phalanx around him, and you saw that you could see blood on him, and you saw the fists come out in both defiance and I think reassurance and strength. And at about the same time, I recognized that somebody behind me had been wounded in the bleachers behind me, and sadly, it looked like pretty severely wounded. And the people in the bleachers next to him were trying to stop the bleeding, but there was blood everywhere. And I'm not sure if that was the person who was in intensive care or the person who died, but it was clear that even though President Trump
that's
had,
horrible.
I guess, been nicked, that others were very, very seriously wounded. So
and it's not lost on you.
It was a very frightening moment.
Not lost on you that had you accepted that invitation to go on stage, you too might have been on the line of fire.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was, and it was obvious that there was an assassination attempt on the former president, and you know, a really scary moment. It was just like it was 15,000 people there, and this had only been my second Trump rally, but it was, you know, USA Today and lots of energy and lots of positive noise, and then all of a sudden just shattered with these rifle shots, and it was just sort of people were in disbelief. It was very chaotic and very confusing for quite some time.
What were you hearing during all this? Our microphones were able to pick up a lot of it, but I'm curious from someone on the ground there as this is all happening. You heard the shots. Did the former president say anything at all?
Not that I heard.
I would have said, fuck. That's what I would have said. Ow.
Moving.
I'll take you so long. I mean,
you know, there was a young
I've been shot.
to me, and his grandfather was local sheriff, so the sheriff ran off to sort of deal with what was going on, and he was very frightened. So, you know, people were processing it. I didn't hear anything the president said. What became clear is that somebody was really hurt, so people were calling for medics and, you know, getting emergency care in, and so it quickly went from the shooting to dealing with what had happened, but also with the uncertainty whether the shooting was done. And, you know, I wasn't at the time I thought it was possible there were two shooters, not just one, because it felt like the sounds were coming from multiple directions. And so, in these moments like this, I've been an Army guy earlier in my life, and it's very hard to know exactly what's going on. So you have to kind of go slow so you don't misunderstand the situation. And that's what I tried to do, was just to process and keep my head down and try to help deal with some of the challenges that resulted in some of the injuries that resulted.
Mr. McCormick, are you attending the RNC, the Republican National Convention, this coming week?
I am, yes.
Do you do that with some deal of trepidation after what you've experienced and what you saw?
Well, I'm still processing, what I saw.
As you would be.
As a public, I'm hoping to be a public official here as a candidate. One of the things you don't want your family to have to worry about is your safety. It's hard enough to be in political life. It's so nasty and difficult, but then to think that your life may be at risk is something that I haven't thought much about, but my family's certainly thinking about tonight, and I think probably all families of people that are in the public eye are saying, boy, this is a lot to ask. So I think it's a moment that I hope we all step back. Political violence has no place in our country. It's not a party thing. It's absolutely un-American, and hopefully a night like tonight will.
That's the problem, though, is it? Absolutely un-American. It's what you guys have been doing for ages.
Yeah, I think that probably is a
sad
bipartisan
thing.
thought tonight.
Not just you guys either. What Romans and everyone's done it. Political violence is just bad no matter where you are.
This sort of thing would happen. Thank you, Mr. McCormick, for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Our investigative correspondent, Tom Winter, is back with us. Tom, you have some new details on how the shooting took place. What can you tell us?
That's right. You were showing a video a moment ago, and maybe we can take a couple of seconds about how it was and pull it up. But we'll stay on this video for now. You see Trump looking over to his right. In this video right here that we're looking at, of this kind of tan building with the white roof, what's blurred out there is what is believed to be the body of the alleged shooter. To answer a question our colleague Jim Kavanaugh was asking before, it appears to me, looking at this video without the blur, that he is wearing some sort of a camouflage type pant. It's not clear to me whether they're wearing any sort of a tactical gear or not. In a separate video we're examining that we believe to be accurate, it appears that the Secret Service counter sniper team, so they're looking for people that might shoot at former President Trump or whoever they're protecting on that day, and they would be in a position to shoot at that person or at least spot them. It appears that they noticed this individual or at least are in the kind of looking in the general area, and it appears that they fire back in less than a second or so after the initial shot is fired. It's not clear, frankly, who fires first. So that's a little bit of detail. And according to our colleagues at NBCnews.com, and we're looking at the map now, they just put this together. It's you're looking at the location of where it appears the body was found and approximately where the stage is where the former president spoke today. And as they've done the math, there are approximately 148 yards between those two locations. So you can kind of get a sense of how all this went down, and grateful to our colleagues for bringing this up so quickly. So that's what we know as far as the location of this and the geography. As we get a better sense of what's going on. Separately, we understand now, and just got word from the FBI that Christopher Wray, who is the FBI director, has conducted a briefing right now of the National Security Council of the United States. He's briefed President Biden and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan as well. So again, FBI Director Christopher Wray.
Right, we've seen that footage a fair bit. Let's find something else here.
The lead agency has briefed the president. Now,
let's find something else that's yeah. Where are we at? Where are we at? We're looking at Trump Live. What was that? That was NBC. Let's check out, who have we got?
All sides of the aisle coming out condemning the violence, saying something like this should never happen. But when these events have happened in the past, what typically happens across the country in terms of a response, in terms of a recovery? Does peace often follow or not?
I think in the immediate days, there is a call for peace, and there is a reflection of comity and civility and empathy. But I think then we get into debates about whether there should be gun control or gun reform in our country. And then the political divisions, once again, are sown. If you look back at the assassination attempt on President Reagan's life, America came together, and you saw approval ratings for President Reagan soar in the wake of that. It actually helped President Reagan politically. And I think to some degree, Americans united when they saw an assassination attempt of their president. So I think it's a mixed bag. We saw with the Paul Pelosi attack that I mentioned, which is the most recent of those that I enumerated, we saw more division. We saw more ugliness particularly from the Republicans after that, really mocking what had happened to Paul Pelosi. So a mixed bag and again, I think a reflection of a very divided time in American life.
A mixed bag and certainly a test that this country will face in the days and weeks to come. Mark Updegrove, thank you so much for your perspective. We really appreciate it. I want to go back to Milwaukee because we've got our political director and bureau chief Rick Klein there, as well as our chief Washington correspondent John Carl. The two of you have had to go inside. There was some weather threatening your live locations. But again, all of this is happening right on the eve of the Republican National Convention and all of these events that were planned and the thousands of people that are expected to participate. What more are you hearing from your sources about what we can expect in the next 48 hours?
Well, the first thing we're hearing from RNC officials is that this convention is going on. I've got a statement that was just released by Reince Priebus, of course, the former chairman of the RNC, former chief of staff for Donald Trump, who is the chairman of the host committee here.
So it sounds a lot like
this assassination attempt, and he says, "We are heartbroken that reports indicate
it's gone beyond
a person has been killed and perhaps others have been injured. This horrific violence has no place in America." But then this is the key line. Guests have already begun to arrive in Wisconsin, and we look forward to working with the Republican National Committee to welcome everyone to Milwaukee this week. This convention is proceeding as planned, and I think what you're going to see is this assassination attempt as something of a rallying cry for Republicans here. We're already seeing Republicans using the image of former President Trump with his arm raised and the blood coming down his face, used as a symbol, which I think is going to be a defining symbol for this convention.
And Rick, on that point too, obviously there's the rallying cry part of it, but also the rhetoric that we've seen. Some people, calling, condemning any sort of political violence, but then other people pointing the finger and placing blame.
Yeah, and the blame that has been directed particularly at President Biden himself has come from very high levels of the party, including Senator J.D. Vance, who in a couple of days could easily be on the ticket with Donald Trump. A lot of Republicans are saying something out loud that is right now, I think, probably not justified by any of the facts that are out there in suggesting that some of the rhetoric that Biden has used somehow contributed to this. We just don't know anything about this gunman or enough about the gunman to be able to say something like that. And we are at a time where people need to be calming the tensions that are everywhere right now because they are boiling over. And I think John's right. This is going to be a rallying cry, and you're going to hear a lot of really sharp and really maybe even dangerous rhetoric in the coming days.
Rick Klein, John Carl, stand by. We'll come back to you in just a moment, but I do want to go back to Mary Bruce at the White House. You've been in close contact with the Biden administration tonight. The president has been talking to his advisors. He was briefed by the Secret Service. He spoke with former President Donald Trump. What more are they saying tonight?
It is notable that they are not saying much more about that conversation between the president and his rival, the former president. Just the fact that they spoke, though, is really remarkable when you consider, how rare it is. I mean, before the debate last month, it had been years since the two of them had talked. And even at the debate, they barely, I don't even think you could say, exchanged niceties. The president is now making his way back here to the White House. He's going to continue to be briefed by his team. He's going to have a briefing tomorrow morning with his national security team, continuing to try and keep a close eye on all of this. The question now, one of many, is what kind of impact this is going to have on the president's campaign. We are already seeing efforts by some to sort of politicize this moment. Of course, as Rick notes, we have no idea what motivated or drove this gunman to do this.
This is the thing that
seeing many point the finger, or some pointing the finger at President Biden.
there's a lot of people that have a problem with leadership, and
but how will this change the tone and tenor of this?
Talking doesn't tend to be the way to fix problems anymore in American politics, does it? It's all yelling. A lot of frustration happening over there.
We've seen so many Democrats coming out and calling for him to exit this race. But for now, in this moment, the president is responding to this, as a president first, but also as a candidate. Of course, we are.
I'll put the link in chat just to watch along with.
Their political communications.
I was going to put the audio on for a moment. We got no risk of gunshots happening at the moment, so.
Try and dial down the temperature in this country and make the point that violence like this is simply unacceptable. As the president said, it is sick and has no place in America.
And John Carl, back to you there in Milwaukee with Rick Klein, because we know that the large crowds is something that Donald Trump obviously favors. It's a hallmark of his campaign. He wants to pack as many people in as possible. So I would imagine even
born again church service
him that they would scale back the convention in any way is not something he wants. If he's able, he's going to try to be there.
I mean, I've witnessed Trump at rallies kind of call out the Secret Service and saying, why are these barricades up there? I want to let people get closer to the stage. I was at a rally in Iowa during the 2022 midterms where he actually got his staff to remove some of the barriers so more of the crowd could come closer to the stage. He's not going to want to scale back any of this thing. I was talking to one of the many people that are involved in planning here, not sure how this was going to affect the convention, as they were all scrambling to try to figure out what actually happened today and what the former president's condition is. But this person said to me, my assumption is not just that this convention will continue as planned, but this convention will continue with a vengeance, with a new
well, that's it.
Using this attempted assassination as a rallying cry, as
of course,
and certainly not as a reason to scale back.
Because people are going to be thinking, well, they're trying to shoot, they're probably doing something, right?
Service is going to have other concerns. Law enforcement here is going to have other concerns about keeping this place secured. But as you and I talked about earlier, Whit, we are in one of the most secure places in the country right now. I mean, they've already erected barricades for blocks all around this convention center. There is already a massive security presence in the city of Milwaukee. It certainly isn't going to be scaled back. If anything, it's going to be ramped up.
And Rick, you and I were talking days earlier just about this event in Pennsylvania and how significant it could be. All eyes were on this event. There was, as names were being thrown out there for potential running mates, there was the possibility of at least a hint or a tease or maybe even an announcement. What does this do now to this Veep stakes, the potential running mates? And clearly some of them are out there on Twitter or X and making comments in support of the former president. Do you think this changes anything? Were any of them likely working to the last possible minute to get the job?
Yeah, we reported just hours before this rally in Pennsylvania that 3 finalists met with Donald Trump privately at Mar-a-Lago in the last couple of days. Somehow they avoided reporters who were tracking the movements of these individuals. We're talking about Senator J.D. Vance, Senator Marco Rubio, and the North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. All 3 met with Donald Trump in a very small setting, maybe even as one-on-one type setting for the first time in this process. He's talked to them informally, but to be involved in the interviews, he was clearly getting close to making that decision. He was teasing the possibility in fundraising appeals and in postings and in interviews that this would be the event. This would be the time that he actually announces his vice presidential pick. The timing would sort of fit going into the convention. We find out that he never had those plans, and he would hope to do this as sort of a big reveal on Monday at the convention. I think all the plans have to be a little bit up in the air. I would even say that if he hadn't made up his decision before, or his mind before, it may be that there's other factors that he is now considering, including how they're responding to this event that has upended so much about politics and so much about American political discourse in the last few hours.
In fact, Rick, I had actually heard from one of the former president's advisors about an hour before this rally was to get underway. We had received, and we've been going back and forth, are they going to announce it, are they not? Earlier today, we were told, no, he's not going to announce it at the event. But just about, less than an hour before the event, I got a call, like, hey, you better be ready. We're hearing that, he may just do it. So, there was a heck of a lot of anticipation at this event. Although, he didn't have the typical entourage with him of other officials, because so many people have already come to Milwaukee. We're already en route to Milwaukee. So, a heck of a lot of the spotlight was very bright on that event in Pennsylvania today.
The spotlight bright on the event, and sadly, just a horrific scene that played out. And the former president, now injured and recovering this slight injury, as he described, to the top of his ear following that attempted assassination. John and Rick, thank you. I want to go back to Martha Raddatz, because Martha, you've been following this very closely, talking to some of your sources, including military sources who've been sort of analyzing some of this data and information as it's been coming in. What more are you learning tonight?
Well, basically what they thought in the very beginning seems to have happened, that this was off-site, that it was not in a secure area. It was off 200, 300 yards away from the actual event, away from Donald Trump. But the shooter still managed to fire 8 rounds from an AR-15. I think about that crowd, and that crowd was there for a political
8 bullets for a semi-assault rifle, assault rifle, yeah?
But no one will forget this day. We have to remember that this is a day where someone tried to assassinate a former president and a presidential candidate. And in that assassination attempt, killed one of those supporters at that political rally and left 2 others in critical condition, according to the Secret Service. So I think that is really what we have to think about tonight. The campaign will go on. Donald Trump made that very clear, just putting that fist up. It looks to me like he was saying, fight, fight, as he was helped off the stage there. He will certainly, as John and Rick said, talk about that this week. They will talk about this at the RNC. But hovering over all of this is, who is that suspect? What motivated him? Why would he take action like that? And because that suspect is dead, you can imagine that there will be conspiracy theories for a very long time, no matter what they find out and prove.
Yeah, sadly, there's no question about that. Martha Raddatz, thank you. And just to point out to our viewers, some of this video that you're seeing, these are new aerials from our affiliate there that has been following this scene, this chopper video. This is overlooking the area off in the distance. There was a wider shot that you could see the American flag that was hanging. There it is. That was the venue inside, but again, law enforcement saying that this shooter was perched up on one of those rooftops about 200 to 300 yards away. And now for the first time, it's kind of coming into a clearer picture that just how much space there was. There are a number of buildings there where he could have been. Once again, we're still just getting these details coming in about the investigation and attempted assassination of the former President Trump. Before we go, though, we do have a recap of all the troubling developments on this historic day. ABC's Rachel Scott was there at the rally and has been speaking with eyewitnesses who were there, too.
This is the shocking moment. Chaos erupted at Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Hang on.
You can hear several
No. There we go. Not showing that. Transitioning. Pull that off for a bit, just in case. You don't want to, yeah. You've got the link if you want to see it, but I don't want to be broadcasting it, so just going to get rid of all of that for the moment. Mind you, it's on TV, if it's on the news and you're watching a mature channel, it should be fine. I think.
agents whisking the former president off the stage, down the stage.
Okay, so they've got that bit done. Jump back in again now.
Medical center.
We heard what we appeared to be gunfire coming. The former president was rushed off the stage right now. With Secret Service, he's being escorted into his vehicle.
Jesus Christ!
Why is that gone sideways?
Then pandemonium. Thousands of people running for cover.
Tell me this one sideways.
Tonight, the Trump campaign releasing a statement saying the former president is fine being checked out at a local medical facility. Donald Trump Jr. telling ABC News he spoke to his father, who remains in the hospital, and described Trump as in good spirits, saying he remains under observation.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Let's just bring the volume back. Good. Okay.
Now this is the space where you have Trump supporters that are leaving, panicked and confused, as Secret Service agents rush us out of this area and back to our cars.
Tonight, the crowd still in disbelief.
Tell me what you saw and what you heard. You said that you heard the popping sounds and you got down.
So first you think like maybe firecrackers.
I'm sure while my thing's mucking up the bottom for some reason.
And then somebody yelled, "Get down!" We got down, and we huddled and we started praying.
Tonight, local officials telling ABC News those sounds were in fact gunshots. Live rounds fired from a rooftop adjacent to the venue outside the security perimeter. Tonight, law enforcement recovering an AR-style rifle. This is being investigated as an attempted assassination. And tonight, the local district attorney telling ABC News at least one person is dead and the shooter is dead as well. A law enforcement official briefed on the investigation tells us this image is believed to show the suspected gunman on the roof. Tonight, President Biden addressing the nation.
I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
And moments ago, former President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, thanking the Secret Service, saying, "I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person who was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act could take place in our country. I was shot with a bullet."
It's not incredible. It happens all the time in America, you know? Like,
immediately that something was wrong, and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots.
Name 5 people assassinated in Japanese politics. One of it.
So I realized then what was happening. God bless America.
Have we ever had a political assassination in Australia? That, you know?
In the beginning, she is still there now. Rachel,
like, I don't know off the top of my head.
Witnesses, but
you know?
I also wonder, have you been in touch with the Trump campaign? Some of the officials that you were likely speaking with who were there at the event and then fled with the president, are they revealing anything else about what happened?
Well.
Yeah, there is a sense of shock among
he went swimming.
Well. They were inside of this rally along with us and the former president's supporters, members of the press.
He went for a swim.
There too, also diving for cover. Many of the former president's aides.
Whether or not he got picked up by the
occurred just right after that. Here now, right behind me, is this active crime scene that you have here, and there were a number of people that were here. Their belongings are left inside. It was sort of this moment where you took what you could and you just sort of raced out. There were some people running out. There were some people that had been pushed out by Secret Service. They were told to just take what you can, leave everything else.
Well, that makes sense, right? Take what you can, leave everything else.
Here at these gates behind me, asking law enforcement when they'll be able to get back in. They were just told that they would not have access to their personal belongings for some time, maybe a couple hours, maybe a day. There are several people here who actually have their keys to their cars. They can't drive home at this point. Obviously, this is an active crime scene that's occurring behind me here tonight. And so you have this American flag that's hanging over that crime scene, an attempted assassination of a former president, a Republican nominee in this race. It is a twist to an already historic campaign win.
Rachel Scott, stand by, and just reminding our viewers who are tuning in right now as we hit the top of the hour, it is just past 11 o'clock in the east, 8 o'clock in the west. We've been on this for hours now. I'm Wade Johnson in New York, following the major developments. Former President Donald Trump in an attempted assassination at one of his events in Butler, Pennsylvania. He was there for a rally, a political rally. You see the events here. There are the popping sounds in the crowd. The former president reaching for his
they keep doing that thing.
down to the deck right there on the stage. The Secret Service surrounding the former president,
careful with that,
to protect him, forming somewhat of a human shield there before eventually bringing former President Trump back to his feet and escorting him off the stage. You can also hear the screams from the crowd because, as we know now, that there was a shooter who was perched on a rooftop, fired up to 8 shots from an AR-style rifle, and at least one spectator, one person in the stands there, was killed. We know that 2 others were taken in critical
which is the major tragedy
hospital.
of this, that somebody got killed.
Escorted, as you can see in some of these images, once they got him back to his feet,
and 2 more got critically injured.
Off the stage, and in some of the pictures, you can see that blood trickling down the right side of his face. The crowd responding to
the link's there in chat. I'll stick it there again. That's what I'm watching.
The former president then walking off with the Secret Service, as you see here, ultimately into a car
He's volume that way
to a nearby hospital. We're told by family that the president is doing fine tonight, that he did suffer a minor injury as a bullet passed through the top of his right ear. But the president and his family, they've been asking for prayers for the victims who were killed, and also thanking the Secret Service for their quick actions in this assassination attempt. We also know that the Secret Service is involved in the investigation. The FBI now leading the investigation. We've been getting information about the shooter. They have confirmed that it's a man. They believe at this point it's a lone suspect. No indication that anybody else was involved, but that man was perched on a rooftop some 200 to 300 yards away from that venue, once again with an AR-style rifle. We're going to bring in some of our other correspondents and contributors here in just a moment. Forgive me, I'm getting instructions. I can't do that. You've got to keep moving it forward. Okay. We've been speaking with eyewitnesses all day. Let's go ahead and listen.
Eyewitness talk coming up.
What you saw and what you heard. You said that you heard the popping sounds and you got down. So first you think like maybe firecrackers, but it continued, and then somebody yelled, "Get down!" We got down, and we huddled and we started praying, and we just started praying, and thank God, a little while later we got up. When we saw other people get up, we saw Trump get up, raise his fists like I'm okay, and we kept praying.
I felt really bad. I'm worried about our grandchildren. What kind of life are they going to have if this goes on, if people don't have the right to say what they want?
You told me that you were near the very front. You weren't very far.
No, we were like from here to where that thing is.
And you got down, you said you got down immediately? Yeah.
They're coaching her. They're coaching her. That's not journalism, that's coaching.
My daughter-in-law, Lisa, she said for us to hurry up and get down.
Well, I mean, I saw all the Secret Service kind of cover Trump. They did a really good job about that, making sure he was protected, telling everyone to get down. So I think they did take a good care of making sure everyone was understanding what was going on and being serious but not freaking everybody out.
What was your initial reaction when you heard those popping noises?
To get down. Yeah, so I actually, my boyfriend pushed me on the ground and, went on top of me, which was, really nice. But I think a lot of people,
She's, really nice. I mean,
shocked to understand what was going on originally, for sure. But I think everyone listened pretty well, and it was handled pretty well.
Did you see some of that commotion that was playing out on the other side of the bleacher where we saw law enforcement agents sort of swarm around another individual? Or did you ultimately just rush out?
No, we were there for a minute because they did tell us to go back down again just in case. I think that was good because it helped calm people down. But I think one of the stands that I was next to, they did carry out a man, and there was another one that might have been injured. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely one at least. And on the other stand on the other side, because I was on the right, on the left, there were a bunch of men in uniform surrounding someone. So that was interesting to see.
You said that you were very impressed by
the speed in which Secret Service was able to get on that stage within seconds of all of us hearing those popping sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a great job. I definitely felt protected in the situation. The sniper was on it, watching on guard. Everyone on the scene did a great job. I mean, of course, it was nerve-wracking in the moment, but I never felt like I was in danger, which was cool.
Well, you were in
which I'm very thankful of, and
in danger, and it's not cool.
Getting him out as quick as possible. He is doing good, which is good. Yeah.
I'm the Republican nominee for the Senate in Pennsylvania. I was in the front row, and President Trump had just announced me and said he was going to have me come up on the stage, and said, well, wait a minute. And then there were a number of shots. I think probably 7 or 8 shots. It wasn't clear whether they would come from one place or 2 places. At least I couldn't tell. And immediately there was a swarm of Secret Service officers that got on top of, knocked down President Trump and got on top of him. And then he stood back up, and you sort of saw this fist come out, sort of defiant that it looked like he was okay, but I you couldn't tell for sure. It looked like there was some blood, but it wasn't obvious. And then the entire crowd went to the ground because we weren't sure whether the shots were done, and then unfortunately,
of course, America. That's what you learn in school in America. That's really sad.
I was on the ground, and up in the bleachers, probably 3 or 4 bleachers behind me. It looked like there was a man who was severely injured. There was a lot of blood, and his people around him were trying to administer first aid. And then some police officers came in and carried him out, and then presumably took him to get first aid. That's really all I could see. I don't know if there were other people injured, and I don't know if there was anybody apprehended, because as you might imagine, once that happened, and the crowd was it was very chaotic, and it was very hard to know what was going on. And we're still there at the rally, just sitting trying to get out because the traffic is so backed up.
And Dave, your account seems to confirm some of this reporting that we're getting about a shooter and potential bystanders who were hurt. Just talk more about your initial reaction. I mean, seeing this, you're running for Senate in the state of Pennsylvania. You're about to walk up on the stage. You're getting introduced by the former president, and then you hear these shots ring out and the chaos in the crowd. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Well, it takes a minute to process. People started to panic all around. You could feel, people were very scared, and so
rightly so.
Everybody just dropped to the ground, and it felt very obvious that the president was under assault, and very much at risk, and it wasn't clear that he was okay to begin with. And then, once it started to sink in, you're thinking, are there still shooters out there? Are they going to target other people? And it's just like these situations. I was in the military previously. You realize over time that the facts start to come together. So you got to be careful not to draw too many conclusions early on. But I think what we all felt was a sense of, oh my Lord, everybody's in danger, because there's clearly a shooter, at least one shooter in the crowd, and maybe more. And really, I think scary for everybody who was there. And shocking.
That doesn't do a very good emote, does it?
We were in the middle of this rally, and it was kind of fun, and people were enthusiastic, and all of a sudden it was turned upside down.
What does this say to you about our state of division and the politics in this country right now?
Well, I don't want to draw any conclusions before I know more about it, but, obviously it's, if you're a public official, if you're a presidential candidate, and, your safety's at risk, that's scary for all of us, no matter what party you're in. And so I think it's, it's a moment to take stock. And, you had 15,000, it seemed, it was a huge crowd.
We're going to stream it properly, yeah?
People who were enthusiastically supporting their candidate, and all of a sudden, the former president, his life is at risk, and what were peaceful people in the audience are wounded, potentially, fatally, I mean, that's unacceptable, and it's not a matter of party. That's just unacceptable in our great country.
I do want to go to Leonard Verdetto, who is an eyewitness who was there at the rally today. He's joining us now on the phone. Leonard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Leonard. We're so grateful that you are okay. Can you just walk us through what happened and what you saw?
Sure, absolutely. So everybody was excited to see the.
It is heavy shit.
Yeah, we were all.
Alright, let's see what else we got. That's another outrage report. Let's turn him off. Let's get another one. What else have we got?
His speech. Then moments later, there was some, popping sounds that were going off.
Who else have we got? ABC News Australia, they were actually quite good with the news.
So the security was anything but loose. It was, let me tell you. So we walked through, one of the first sites that we saw was a heavily armored vehicle with several, what I can only understand to be police officers or maybe SWAT around it. We walked in, we saw that, and then as we walked into the legitimate event, we walked through not only just a metal detector, but there were 3 cops at each metal detector, 3 police officers, and one of which had a metal detecting wand. They made us remove everything from our pockets, take everything off that we were wearing, like hats, glasses, etc. And as we walked in, we were also met by, you could see, I can't even count the amount of men in ties with earpieces that I saw with sunglasses that looked all professional. I could have only assumed those were Secret Service or people who were walking around armed. And as we, like probably half an hour before Donald Trump arrived, we saw about 10 to 15 police on motorcycles come. Everybody was taking pictures and stuff, but they came. We had the sheriff sitting right by. We had one of the sheriffs sitting right by us, and then we also had about 5 police cruisers that pulled up as well with them with their lights on. But it was very secure. I don't think I've ever felt safer until that one moment.
And tell me, Brian, about the mood of the crowd before that moment.
The mood of the crowd before that moment?
Yeah, before the attempted assassination.
They were excited. They were very extremely excited. They were cheering. They were booing at something that he was saying because he was talking about the opposition and what they're doing to our country at the moment. But they were ecstatic. I don't think I've ever seen a crowd more explosive with energy. Just the feeling in there, the camaraderie of the people that I was talking to. I mean, my fiance and I, we made some legitimate friends, people that I could consider seeing in the future, but obviously we never got names and stuff due to the terrible circumstances. But the crowd was electric.
As we saw in the 2 minutes that we just broadcast from when
I like how she asked.
Was hit with the bullet in the side of his ear and then whisked away by the Secret Service and his security detail. Can you explain that 2 minutes? Because it started off looking quite chaotic and confusing, but at the end the crowd was chanting.
So I wasn't quite
drawing attention
because my fiance and
to the situation as opposed to leading the witness.
Was about 40 yards from where we were standing, so we were insanely scared, as you can understand. So we started walking away, but after that, I think that people just realize, I think what they want from us is to be afraid. They don't want us to attend these rallies. They don't want us to rouse our support. And
no, that was just taking a shot to that.
That they had enough.
Nothing about fear.
Terrible happened.
It's gonna happen anyway, right?
Started chanting. I didn't hear what they were saying, but I can only assume it was something to the lines of USA or something like that, because they were attempting to be patriotic after such a terrible thing happened.
Brian, I appreciate that recounting difficult and traumatic moments is not easy. You've witnessed an act of violence and people have died. In those moments, though, 20 or 30 seconds where former President Trump is out of sight, he's beneath that podium, what were your thoughts at that moment before you saw that his injuries were not serious? How concerned were you?
At the moment, I can't say that my biggest worry was Donald Trump. My fiance, who I will be marrying in October, I don't know what was going through my mind, except I don't want to lose her. Yes, there was some inkling that I was hoping that he wasn't dead, and I'm glad that he's fine and in good health now, and hopefully getting to a good recovery. But I was just staring at my fiance as she was being protected by these two men that I thanked profusely afterward.
Brian, you're an eligible voting American. How does this change the campaign for you, for voters, for those who choose to vote in America?
I honestly do think that the people who were there, I know where they were voting already. I don't think it changes their mind one bit. All it does is reinforce what they previously thought. But I do really think the voters at home who plan on voting against Donald Trump, it really adds some perspective to their situation and really might change the way that they think. I really think it shows, not saying that the majority of the party or even close to the majority of the party, their true colors, but I am saying that it might unearth some things that some people otherwise might have not thought as possible coming from that party, like the vitriol and the actions that we've seen today.
Brian, you know that both sides will view this very differently as to who is to blame for creating this atmosphere that has led to violence. Some will say the problem is lawlessness in the United States. Others will say the problem is there are too many guns in the United States. Do you have
that's the thing, isn't it? Is it lawlessness and guns?
Can emerge of these events that are above
is
politics,
it both?
or is politics inevitable, particularly when it is a direct attack on a candidate for the presidency?
Sadly, I do not think it will be possible to fully remove politics from this situation, mainly because, like you said previously, it was an attack on a political candidate for the President of the United States, and not to mention he was the previous President of the United States. So to say it's not going to be politicized, or at least completely over-politicized...
He's not the president, he's the previous president. People already start thinking it was the president who goes to assassinate.
I hope that people realize that this stunt isn't this terrible, terrible thing that this person did isn't just something to see purely through a political lens. I hope that people show grace in this time and they realize that what happened was real and not just political, because it was an act of malice, whether political or not. It was a terrible action carried out by a terrible person or several terrible people, which I'm not too sure until it is concluded upon.
Well, Brian, we really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us. We wish you and your fiancée well. We're glad that you're both safe.
Thank you very much. You too.
And obviously, as Brian Brzezowski just mentioned there, the investigation is ensuing. We have no idea of the motivations behind the shooter yet, let alone whether or not he was working alone, or with others. But what we do have now is we have a live shot of Air Force One, US President Joe Biden, about to leave from Delaware, cutting his visit there short to head back to Washington. He has spoken to Donald Trump as well as the governor of Pennsylvania. It's coming up to 11:30 p.m. there in the US, in fact a little bit later in the morning at the White House. He will receive an updated briefing from Homeland Security and law enforcement officials.
The BBC has spoken to an eyewitness as well who says that he saw the suspected shooter before the incident.
So this is the thing, they're saying that as well.
You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here, we had a party. And we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof.
Get his hair, right? Literal carts.
50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right
They
here.
probably think it was Secret Service.
You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see it?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
And that was an eyewitness to that shooting speaking to the BBC. John, you are an expert in US politics. You've been covering politics for decades, elections for decades. What are your observations and your reactions to this event in Pennsylvania?
Well, it's important that this has happened in the days leading up to the Republican nominating convention. So this is going to be an extraordinary piece of historic theatre, where Donald Trump will accept the nomination for president of the Republican Party in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this week.
Probably a given now he's going to make it. It's probably a given he's going to get the vote.
Of the shooting that he has survived.
So if it was the militant lefties,
political sense, and we can't
then
avoid the politics of this right now.
This is
backfired. The favourite to become America's next president.
If it was a conspiracy, that's being very well executed.
It's a remarkable thing that he is seeking to do.
But either way, look at it, it's a tragedy.
To his first term,
because this guy shouldn't be the main man. These main people in the news should be the two in hospital, the one that got killed.
Pretty much like the one we saw in Pennsylvania today, which
is the thing
in Washington D.C. at the Ellipse outside the White House, then went up to Capitol Hill and stormed the Capitol building to stop Joe Biden being certified as president of the United States. So we have now seen another Trump rally devolve into violence. But on this occasion, it seems that Trump himself is the target and victim of that violence. We do not know the motivations of the shooting yet, and it will be interesting to see what we learn about.
You guys seriously might have it. Anyone in America? I mean, civil war is a thing. It looks like you guys are brewing for it.
News coverage for the week ahead.
I don't think Biden wants a civil war. I think he just wants to retire and go fishing.
From the
and have someone help him every now and then with his health needs.
Infirmity since that first debate. But it also means that there will probably be a wellspring of sympathy towards Donald Trump.
So in that respect, I think Biden might actually be a puppet.
And it could mean
a well-meaning puppet, but a puppet.
Between him maybe not being
and maybe not even realising he's a puppet.
To easily becoming president again. It could be that consequential.
Because we will.
Trump, he knows exactly what he's doing.
The focus of what has been the focus for the Biden campaign about whether he's fit for office and his age, etc.
As they're saying, yeah, now.
The focus of that for the next week or so. Do you expect polls out that then it will be inflamed once again?
Almost certainly. This, to an extent, makes all of the polling to this point less relevant. Just as the debate itself 2 weeks ago kind of made every question asked to every voter before that event happened, made that somewhat irrelevant as well. The circumstances have changed dramatically. Donald Trump was not only the victim of an apparent attempted assassination, but his response, as we heard moments ago from one of his supporters, Bryant, his response was seen as strong, even heroic. The image of Donald Trump with blood smeared across his face, raising
standing up and pumping his fist,
will become a defining image not just of this campaign, but of American politics. It will have significant power and it will project significant strength. And as Brian said, the response of the crowd was to say, this is the kind of strength we want as president. And in an environment of lawlessness, where presidential candidates are being hit by bullets fired by assassins, Americans often return to strength. It happened in 1968 after the assassination of Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King. They went to Richard Nixon, who promised to restore law and order over chaos. Donald Trump has already seeded the idea of this being as a
Reagan.
result of an erosion of law and order in the United States, when he said that this should not happen in this country. Now, that is not overt politicking, but that is essentially saying, if I was president, this would not be happening.
It's interesting you say about how the Republicans and supporters will use this. The North Dakota governor, he's a possible Republican VP pick. He, in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of this assassination attempt, he said, we all know President Trump is stronger than his enemies. Today, he showed it. Whereas the Democrats are very quick across the board to this moment to denounce the violence. If President Trump, former President Trump, as you just mentioned, uses this when you look at it through a crass political lens to the advantage of the campaign, how will that feed in to the context of political violence in campaigns and using that idea that something terrible and violent has just happened and turning it around potentially?
Kath, whenever we see mass and public shooting events in the United States, there are very predictable and intractable responses from the left and the right of politics. And to an extent, it doesn't matter who the victim of that violence is. So in 2017, when the Republican congressional whip Steve Scalise was shot and badly wounded while playing a game of baseball, the perpetrator of that was somebody who professed quite hard left-wing ideology. Their online writings had been supporting Bernie Sanders. Now, that didn't mean that Bernie Sanders shot Steve Scalise, but that's how some people chose to interpret it. And it fed into questions around, well, is this about there being too many guns in America or not enough guns in America? Maybe the people playing baseball should have had sidearms. There are people that literally believe that. Just as when Democratic Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was shot in the head in a supermarket car park in Tucson, Arizona in 2011, while meeting with constituents. 18 other people were killed or wounded in that attack. It also led to this same predictable debate, is this about gun control, is this about a lack of law and order? Unfortunately as well, in a media environment in the United States now where people go to their sources of information that confirm those beliefs, no minds tend to get changed. So I don't expect this will alter pre-existing views on all of those issues. It may, however, because of the projection of strength from Donald Trump, convince some people who are worried about the perceived frailty of Joe Biden that in fact Trump is the guy. That, I think, is the only political impact.
You mentioned law and order and gun control there. Do you think that they will come to the fore now in campaigning?
It'll be in many people's minds, but in a sense, in presidential campaigns, Kath, they can talk a lot about issues, and it could be about gun control. It could be about abortion, it could be immigration or border security. It often comes down to a much baser emotional response. Is the person who wants to be president strong enough to keep me and my family safe? That perceived threat might be mass shooters. It might be illegal immigrants who rape and murder our people. And that's what Donald Trump accuses Mexicans coming across the border of being rapists.
So I'm looking at statistics here on a historical data site. I'll give you the link, statista.com, and it's saying that
can be what motivates people to say, yes, I'll make this person the next Commander-in-Chief of the United States.
Speaking of the Commander-in-Chief, this is Joe Biden boarding his flight out of Delaware, making his way back to Washington. It's now
a long link.
around 6.5 hours.
It's saying that. It's ringing my ears still. Thank you.
The former president.
4 assassinated.
John, the machinations now
2 shot, but
the
survived. That's
president
4,
needs to be
5,
back
6.
in Washington. This was a
Unharmed but others killed, injured. That's 9. And nobody harmed except for the culprit is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that's the ones that we know about. That's not the ones we don't know about. You know? That's just the ones that we know about. So
until we know the identity and the motivations of the perpetrator of this act, we don't know, and national security experts in the United States don't yet know, what are the wider implications? The Secret Service and the CIA often war game scenarios where an attack on the United States, such as the 9/11 attack, might be preceded by acts of political violence because it sows chaos, confusion, fear and also can lead to a breakdown in chains of command. So they will be looking at that as a possibility. Is this a form of election interference? It may be somebody who is an unstable person who just has fixated on Donald Trump and hates him and wanted to kill him. It could be as simple as that. It could be the lone gunman theory, or it could be, as we discussed, there are all these questions as to foreign involvement. In the case of John F. Kennedy, were the Russians involved? Will the Russians immediately contact the Americans to say it wasn't us? There are a lot of suspicions that maybe in some way the Cubans were involved. Lee Harvey Oswald had been to Cuba, he'd been to Russia, he was married to a Russian. There were lots of questions. So there'll be lots of questions here where they have to eliminate the possibility that this is not an internal domestic political attack, but an external attack on America's political system. And also that Joe Biden himself is safe. The security cordon around him will have tightened even further. The security cordon around Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father, as we've discussed, was shot and killed in 1968 campaigning for the presidency. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is polling about 10% in this campaign. He could potentially make the difference between Trump winning or losing.
We had Arthur Colwell.
He himself is potentially a target for attack. They'll be looking now at the Secret Service protection afforded to him.
Someone tried killing Prince Alfred in 1868.
From President Biden speak after the event in Delaware. We've got these
A legislative assembly member, that's not a Prime Minister.
Air Force One making his way back to Washington.
That would count one.
That there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we've had to, unite this country. We can't allow this to be happening. What did you make of his response to this? Because he's in a somewhat unique position, whereas he's needing to bring the country together after an act of violence like this. But the act of violence was against his political rival, and we know that they have a fierce political relationship, don't they?
The comments of President Biden, former President Obama, have been particularly interesting, Kath, because depending on how you want to interpret them, yes, there's a condemnation of violence, but there is also an implication that the victim of this violence, Donald
and he wasn't even
has been to an extent responsible for a heightened sense of anger and division.
And he'd never actually made the top dog position.
So when Joe Biden talked
he was just like the opposition. He was never the actual leader. So we've had 0 people try and kill our Prime Minister.
Tone down the rhetoric.
Yes.
They tried to kill the opposition to the Prime Minister.
But it is just leaving it out there that we think that to an extent what has happened to Donald Trump, he has to bear at least some partial responsibility for. Now, that's perilous territory to get into.
In the audience don't either.
As well as politically. But there is definitely, as Donald Trump is already making statements to suggest that, imply rather than suggest that this breakdown in law and order is due to a lack of law enforcement in the United States. And his supporters are already saying that this is an extension of, well, they couldn't beat him in court, and they can't beat him at the ballot box, so they're going to try and kill him. People's minds are going to these predictable lines of thought based on their firmly held beliefs and their ideologies. It's a shame that we can't see a nation unite around a common set of values and standards to say, this is unacceptable, we need to find out exactly what's happened and why before we fit it into our existing ideological template and blame the other side.
And the international reaction has been swift and fierce, with the general theme of keeping that toning down the rhetoric. We heard earlier from the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, responding to the shooting.
Along with all Australians, I was shocked by the terrible scenes at former President Trump's campaign event in Pennsylvania. I'm relieved by the news that the former president is safe and doing fine, and I wish him and his family well. I applaud the swift work of US security agencies. I'm also saddened by reports that a member of the audience has lost their life and other attendees have been injured, and I send my condolences on behalf of Australia to their loved ones in this time of grief. Let us be clear. The people at this event, the candidate, the crowd, the free press covering it, were all participating in the democratic process. In Australia, as in the United States, the essence and the purpose of our democracies is that we can express our views, debate our disagreements, and resolve our differences peacefully. We do so with respect for each other and in the spirit of a shared love of our country.
It's changing now that we're going towards
Any
America and that
violence
respect,
is an affront to that and must be condemned unequivocally. This was an inexcusable attack on the democratic values that Australians and Americans share and the freedom that we treasure. These values are ones that unite our two countries. It's the basis of our alliance.
No, it's not. The basis of our alliance is economics
as great democratic nations.
Strategic position in the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans.
In the United States.
It's really right down there in the guts of it all. And we've got resources.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
And people want our resources.
And we do have this continuing live.
They're going to give somebody who speaks the same language or somebody who doesn't.
Air Force One jet,
you know?
Joe Biden is about to depart from
so I think the same as somebody who doesn't.
The state of Delaware, cutting short a visit home. They're heading back.
Value of human life in Australia is very different from value of human life in Asia.
That the president and former president have spoken now on the phone. Donald Trump recuperating in hospital after being nicked, it seems, by an attempted assassin's bullet on his right ear. Also, the governor of the state of Pennsylvania Josh Shapiro has also been in contact with President Biden. Josh Shapiro, who is seen by some as a potential vice president if Kamala Harris were to become the nominee of the Democratic Party. It's interesting that he is also involved in this drama. It's around 11:37 p.m. AM, I beg your pardon, on Sunday morning in the United States. At the White House, they're going to have an updated briefing from Homeland Security and law enforcement officials. We'll bring that to you as it comes through as well.
Okay, well, let's bring in election analyst Casey Briggs, who has been following this closely over the last 5 or 6 hours. Casey, what are you getting as a response and reaction to this when you look at the
reaction? What's going to happen?
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at the context for how Americans feel about the state of their democracy, the state of their institutions. And I might just draw you to a few
pretty fiery
polling data in the last couple of years that sort of start to paint a picture, not reflecting on this particular incident, but the environment within which it's happened. And I think there are, conversations happening. You were talking earlier about what this might mean for the campaign going forward and how, various political actors are treating what's happened and how they're reacting to it. A couple of organisations have done polling around the issue of political violence in the past couple of years. I'll take you to one from the University of Chicago done last year. And they asked people about whether they agree the use of force is justified in a various number of scenarios. And the one I'll just draw your attention to is whether force is justified to achieve political goals that I support. It's a minority of Americans that say yes to that, but it's perhaps a larger number than you would think, 13.9% of Americans saying, use of force can be justified to achieve political goals that I support. There's another study out of the UC Davis Violence Prevention Research Program, which again suggested the same sort of thing. And this one, the numbers are actually a little bit higher depending on what you're looking at. 32.8% considered violence to be usually or always justified to advance at least one of 17 political objectives, and there were a range of objectives, whether it was preventing discrimination or stopping an election from being stolen or stopping voter fraud. This study paints an interesting picture of how Americans feel about the state of their democracy. A bit over 2/3 perceive there is a serious threat to US democracy, a significant number of people believing in conspiracy theories in the United States, nearly 20% agreeing strongly or very strongly that, quote, having a strong leader for America is more important than having a democracy. And then one last piece of data I'll share with you is from YouGov and The Economist from a couple of years ago now, but they were asking Americans about political divisions and specifically whether they thought a civil war might be likely to break out in the next decade. 2 in 5 Americans
in the next few years
or strongly agreed that yes, a civil war is likely in the United States. So
I guess what is the definition of a civil war? Because there's civil unrest and there's civil war.
Yeah, and I don't have the full question detail right in front of me, but you know, it is a survey.
There's still a heightened anxiety
over violence, conflict, political conflict within the country. This survey also asked people, you know, whether the country is becoming more politically divided. 66% yes. Is the amount of political division in this country more likely to increase in the next few years? 63% yes. Do you think political violence in this country since the beginning of 2021 has increased? 65% yes. Will it continue to increase? 62% yes. So there's not a lot of optimism in the United States around the state of
either that or violence is being embraced.
There are a surprisingly large minority of Americans who think it can be justifiable. And then you couple that with, as you've been discussing, the sort of fragility of democracy worldwide, but in particular, as we've seen in the United States, the fragility of some of these institutions where there's all of these avenues where you can, you know, as we've seen candidates try in the past, challenge elections in the courts and pull all manner of tactics to try and influence the way that democratic institutions function. It sort of paints a picture of a people that are not that confident in their own democratic future, and that is not reflecting on this particular incident, as we've been
and this is why I think
the person that's responsible for this attempted assassination.
This is why I think that a lot of situations happened to get to this point
about that in the days ahead
was actually destabilization by foreign powers of Western democracies by promoting
and how people might
enough
respond
dissension between and animosity between
emotive election
two different groups of people,
you know, got about 100
the minorities and the majority,
is only going to continue to ratchet up in intensity.
Is there any way to know, Casey, when people talk about democracy being under threat,
creating a situation where
an attack on democracy,
the whole sideshow is become the main show,
the United States? How people feel
which is the whole left and right thing happening at the moment and polarizing
in a
it.
rhetorical sense, we support democracy, but then some polls have
which is what we're seeing right now, polarization, as we also saw with the storming of the Congress building thing.
At least for a day, that they believe, in fact, that a strong.
I would have to say that it's a success, and we know it's been happening. That's, you know, it's not like we don't know that there isn't a cyber war going on.
Do you have a sense whether
it's not like we don't know. If you use Facebook, of course you know. You know, if you use, look at TikTok, look at all of them.
Like to get rid of it altogether.
And we've seen that with multiple
and that gets, America does it, Russia does it, China does it, North Korea does it.
That have found younger Americans are less likely.
Cyber war is a thing. Everyone does it. It's a thing. And I think that this campaign of destabilizing the government of America and the government of other parts of the world. Because this shit isn't happening in Russia, this shit isn't happening in China. You can argue human rights, whatever, and the way they run the countries, yeah. Because a weakness is being exploited. And this is the thing, and it's being exploited, and this is what I feel. I feel that someone through, they use the tactic of starting a fire across the water, which is when you can't take on your enemy directly, so what do? You create an enemy for that enemy across the water. So you start a fire, they fight the fire, the fire's doing it, but you're across the water, you're safe. You've got a barrier between you and the fire, so the thing that you started, you can't, you're protected from, and it's affecting somebody else. That's what I think is happening here. That's an old Chinese strategy from the 36 bin far. And yeah, that's what I think's happened. Whether it was China, Russia, who knows? North Korea, who knows? But that's what I think's happened in this situation. Let's just bring the volume back.
Very interesting to see if this incident changes the political context and the way that Americans view their democracy.
I've been speculating that I assume, at least, and it's always perilous to make assumptions, particularly on television.
Makes no sense out of you and me.
that this will lead to a wave of support for President Trump, who will then add to that increased interest by conducting the Republican convention this week. It should be a very good week for Donald Trump after an awful thing that has happened. He's a victim of violence. There's no doubt about that.
A lot of very good things for the families that are affected, though, is it?
Political upside for him? Do you believe that the American electorate that you see in that data is likely to say, Donald Trump, yes, I'm more likely to vote for him today than I was yesterday?
John, like you, I do not like to make assumptions on live television, but maybe let's look back at what's happened. Certainly nothing like this has happened in the past, but Donald Trump has been convicted of felonies, which would ordinarily be a very bad news for a political candidate. Now that has seemed to give him a boost in public support, at least among his base. His campaign is claiming that day was a record day of fundraising. You would anticipate that the Republican National Convention is a week of very good fundraising for the Republican Party. Whether that will increase beyond expectations this week, we don't know. We're seeing that the Biden campaign is pausing its campaign activity today, pulling advertising, not sending any sort of communications around the campaign itself. So we're seeing a brief reprieve, at least, on the Democratic side.
Oh, yeah.
Indications on the Republican side, at least, that this is not going to last all that long. We've seen statements from politicians like J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator that Trump endorsed and is very well aligned with Donald Trump, pointing the finger at Joe Biden.
I think
sort of inspiring this attack.
The American population needs to do some soul searching as well.
The Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump's an authority.
No matter who you are.
Who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. Those comments were shared by Donald Trump's super PAC, a fundraising campaign group that works not directly for Donald Trump, but on Donald Trump's behalf. The sort of indications are that the Republican Party's political instincts are kicking in here, even in the way Donald Trump responded to this.
Well, it's interesting. On that very point, the New York Times is running a piece. In the middle of the mayhem, Trump pumped his fist and revealed his instincts. Those instincts being defiance and strength.
Yeah, it seems as the Secret Service was attempting to, get him to safety and get him undercover, Donald Trump's first instinct was to say, hang on,
fuck you is what he was saying.
I need to acknowledge the crowd and raise my fist, as you're seeing there, that sort of moment of defiance, imploring people to fight. So this is an awful thing.
That would have hurt.
Absolutely. The indications are, though, that the Republican side of this...
So it's sheer the top of his ear, eh?
Hours after
he was lucky. Wasn't he so lucky?
Where the political upside is.
Not lucky to get shot, but lucky to survive it. I mean, he was lucky.
Some of that data and analysis, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now we are standing by for a media conference from Pennsylvania Police. As soon as that happens, we will bring that to you. But joining us now is David Blunt, lecturer in international relations at the University of Sydney. David, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, I might
Firstly, your
leave it there. I'd fully recommend that this ABC News stream seems to be non-biased in its reporting.
About the state of American democracy.
I'll put the link in again into chat so people have got it if they're interested.
Going on in the American body politic. I look at things through two lenses. One, I'm a political philosopher. The other, I'm a political analyst. As a political philosopher, there is a very important norm of nonviolence that underpins democracy. And this is certainly grating against it. And if people are starting to see presidential candidates, it's worrying that this might start a cycle of violence that will undermine the basis of American democracy.
David,
that's already happened, mate.
That's
already happened.
With an assassination. I'm thinking of Archduke Ferdinand and the start of the
Stay a bit longer.
War. What do you think of this moment for the United States? People are discussing the dangers of civil conflict or just civil strife. Do you think that is a reasonable concern?
I think there is certainly a possibility that this could be the start of a spiral of political violence. We know that President Trump has not been shy of demonizing and castigating his opponents as not just political rivals, but as bad human beings. It might be that some more extreme supporters of President Trump might take a pop at Biden, perhaps, or another Democratic politician. It's not out of the realm of possibility that this is how things start. As you say, a small act like the assassination of an archduke can start a world war. An attempted assassination of a president might start further political unrest in the United States. certainly among the more conspiracy-minded portions of the population.
David, we were speaking before with Casey Briggs, our election analyst, on some of the polling that had been done on political violence, etc. And there was a number out, and it got us talking about civil unrest versus civil war. As a result, they're two very distinct, different things. How bad can this get? I think it was 2 in 5.
It can get pretty bad.
Suggesting
that. You think?
Is there any chance, or is it way too extreme to suggest, civil war here as a result from this incident?
Yeah, look, I think civil war is incredibly unlikely, right? So look back at the start of the American Civil War. One of the reasons why it could actually occur is that the southern states had pretty large militias, control over the tools of political violence. They could create an army to defend the secessionist movement. Now that doesn't really exist as far as I know in the United States right now. There's no pro-Trump section of the military or pro-Biden section of the military for that matter. One of the things that has defined the American Republic is that its military tends to be fairly nonpartisan. So the idea that a civil war could start, I would say unlikely. Now, civil unrest is an entirely different kettle of fish. We have to remember this is the United States of America. There are a lot of people with a lot of arms, small arms, that could cause a good deal of chaos in the United States if they felt threatened. Think about January 6th. That was a relatively lightly armed mob that stormed the Capitol. If there was a deliberate attempt by paramilitaries to undermine the election, this could be quite disruptive. Now, I don't think we're close to that. But this is certainly a moment of pause to think about how the rhetoric of American politics has been going since 2016. This sort of violence seems, well, exceptional, 40 years ago. But this seems quite predictable. I don't think many people are surprised that there is eruptions of political violence during this quite exceptional election campaign. Now, hopefully this is the end of it. But that depends a lot on how Trump reacts to it. He's obviously going to come out swinging, but if he starts saying, this is them taking shots at me because I'm the only thing standing between you and a Biden crime family dictatorship, well, that's going to start ringing a lot of alarm bells. So we do need to almost hold our breath, all of us outside of the United States right now, and hope that cooler heads prevail.
David Blunt, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We'll try and get back to you a little later on. We're just getting a briefing now through from authorities in the state of Pennsylvania where this attempted assassination took place. Hopefully to give us some more details as to what we've all seen unfold on our TV screens in the last few hours.
Just standing by here, waiting for authorities out of Pennsylvania to give us an update on the investigation.
We're ready.
That is obviously
Whenever you're ready, mate. You're live.
Of former president.
So my name is Kevin Rojek.
Here we go.
That's R-O-J-E-K. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI Pittsburgh field office. The first thing I want to say is that the FBI stands with the people of Butler County in western Pennsylvania, and our hearts go out to the victims of this heinous act which occurred today.
And their minds,
this
flip
is
minds.
our community, and I want to let the public know that the FBI has deployed a number of our resources, including investigative agents, our evidence response team, bomb technicians, and we have additional resources coming from other field offices, as well as from FBI headquarters.
Which you'd expect, right?
Including our evidence response from Quantico, Virginia. We have intelligence analysts as well, working from our field office in Pittsburgh, working feverishly to attempt to identify the individual who did this and any motives behind why this was done. Right now, we need the public's help. Anyone who was on scene, who saw anything, who identified any information, please report that to the FBI using either the phone number 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at fbi.gov/Butler. This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents
Will be
on scene.
a couple of days, yeah.
We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well. Again, at this time, we are not prepared to identify who the shooter is. We are close to that identification, and as soon as we are 100% confident in who that individual is, we will share it with the press. With that being said, also, we do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was. At this time, I'm going to turn over the podium to Colonel Chris Parris from the Pennsylvania State Police.
Thank you very much. My name is Colonel Chris Parris, P-A-R-I-S, Commissioner of
If you'll get spelling right.
I would just like to say that the state police
identify as he, him.
With the governor's office, and the full support and assets of the entire agency are behind the FBI and our other federal and municipal partners to assist with this investigation. The thoughts and prayers of the Pennsylvania State Police are likewise
thoughts and prayers, there we go.
victims of this terrible act.
Do a thoughts and prayers
We are
counter.
prepared to support this investigation in any way, shape, or form, and we stand ready to participate in a full, fair, and competent and thorough investigation. To give you an operational rundown, Deputy Commissioner of Operations, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, is behind me, and he will discuss the operational portion that's being conducted by the Pennsylvania State Police. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens.
Good evening. So let me describe for you a little bit about the scene that we have over there. As you know, there was a grandstand, a very large.
It's a murder scene, not
there,
a crime scene. It's a murder scene.
The former
You
president
know, it's not just a crime scene. It's a murder
and begun to
scene.
speak shortly after 6 o'clock this evening. And within about 10 to 15 minutes, a number of sounds were heard, and it became apparent that shots were being fired in that direction. It was a chaotic scene. Law enforcement, I believe, acted heroically, quickly identifying and neutralizing the threat, as well as responding to assist the various victims. PSP had a significant presence on the scene along with all of our federal partners at the time of the shooting. We have since enhanced that presence significantly, bringing in resources from all over the Commonwealth to ensure that we have a speedy, thorough investigation. We are working very closely with the FBI as we work through this. As you can imagine, because of the variety of crimes that have been committed, some are under federal jurisdiction, some are under state jurisdiction. And so, we're working through all of that, not an issue at all. We work seamlessly. But the FBI has maintained the lead on the attempted assassination. PSP will take the lead on the homicide and the shootings of the other individuals in the grandstand area. And so there are a lot of witnesses to be interviewed, a lot of things to be processed. There were some complicated.
They haven't identified him.
Hopefully the next time we speak we can describe for you, but some complicators that slowed down some of the processing and the positive identification of the shooter. But know that at this time we have no reason to believe that there is any other existing threat out there. We are doing everything we can to make sure that this is thoroughly investigated, and that if there is any information developed that anyone else was involved, that between PSP and the FBI, that will very quickly be followed up on. So I think at this time we would open it up to questions from all of you.
Was this a lone wolf attack?
Again, I think it's too early.
They haven't identified him, so why would you? Why did you even ask that?
Tentatively identified, but we're not stopping there. We're following up on a lot of information. It will be some time until we can conclusively say or answer that question, I think.
We saw the sectors up there, as the crowd kind of rolling in and looked at a pretty good viewpoint to check everyone out. How long did that guy been up there?
Again, that will all be part of the investigation, but that will all be part of the investigation. but I can tell you that
we can hear him fine, so we can't hear.
Everything unfolded very quickly. So, you know, again, we'll have more information on that, but it's just too early to start definitively saying this happened at this exact time. That's correct. We'll have that information for you. It was some distance outside of the security perimeter.
Comment on reports that there were people who saw someone on the roof and tried to alert authorities?
We're following up on those. I will tell you that I am aware of those, and I am aware that law enforcement had responded to a number of reports of suspicious activity. The specific
this is the wind down phase, and the authorities are briefing everybody.
But yes, law enforcement was responding to check on several suspicious occurrences.
What were the other suspicious occurrences?
That'll all be part of the investigation.
There we go.
We seem to have lost that media conference there by Pennsylvania police as well.
Pennsylvania.
Joined by the FBI field office. Oh, we've got it back. We'll head back.
So again, we're not prepared at this time to provide the identity.
No, they're losing it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think we'll persevere with that for now, but the bulk that came out there...
And I'm going to persevere from here from now either. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to...
The FBI field office there, speaking about it's an active
investigation. Well, we'll start off the news on the fire stream today. Then I found out that the president had been shot. Thank you so much for informing me there, Palsky. And then Palsky, let me know. And yeah, so at that point I thought, well, maybe it's not the best time to play a war game. So we've let that go. I'm looking at, I've mentioned before too, other news, I've mentioned before that I'm changing the stream to what it looks, and I am doing a sneak peek just happened there. I just rebuilt it quickly of what I'm going to be, imagery I'm going to be adding to the stream. So, not so much of the news stuff, but yeah. Let's just turn this news off the back. It's still happening in my ears, I don't need that anymore. There we go, off it goes. So thank you for staying around, having a chat. But I'll catch you soon, I suppose. I might have a bit of a session later on this afternoon or something, I'm not sure. I'm still working on the X4 video for the series I'm doing. That's kind of hard because it's a bit of a grindy game to get started. So finding images of cool stuff and recording it when it happens is difficult. So I've got some footage and I'm going to be taking some more as I keep making that intro. We've got another couple of games added to the list. Now the Steam sales ended, I'm going to be adding an adventure segment. We're going to be adding in, to start with, what's it called again? Far Cry. Going to be adding in some Far Cry games. Also going to be adding in the one that we piloted the other week, which is Silver Bass. And there's a few more. I got a few more I'm going to be adding in. I've added in some single player stuff. There's some co-op stuff in there. And yeah, there's a little bit of PvP style game in there too, as well as a classic. What else did I pick up? I haven't picked up what I picked up just to make sure I know what I got. So we got the X4 Foundations. We picked up the expansions packs for that. Thank you so much, Egosoft, for giving me the original game, and also for giving me the timelines update. But the rest of it I picked up myself, so I'm not going to be tagging you for a while, especially since I had my key mailer shit revoked for some reason. So anyway, so great back flag I picked up as well. I'm not now that's going to play. I might have to refund it. It depends. One of the Assassin's Creed games I played a while back really messed with my motion sickness, bloody internet sickness, cyber sickness, whatever you want to call it. Cyber sickness I'll call it. It's not I don't get motion sick, so it's not motion sickness, it's cyber sickness that I get. So we'll see how we go with the latest one. Well, not the latest, with that one, with that version. It's on a boat, right? How bad could it be? It's gonna be pretty bad anyway. Half-Life 2 I picked up to round out my collection. I've got it back home in Australia, but not here. So I might as well get it on Valve, on Steam itself. What else do we get? That's not going to be a favourite. Removing that from favourites. There we go. What else we got? Dead. I mean, adding some Walking Dead into the thing as well. And yeah, stuff. We've got stuff coming. I've added quite a few things onto the list. So yeah, we've got a few things. I'm looking at the list I've got here, and it's a few more. So we're not going to run out of content as I continue to work towards doing live streaming stuff in real life. That's where we're going, into Osaka. Part of the revamp of the channel is to aid that. As you got a sneak peek with the TV thing, I'll be going live. I'm probably looking for a co-host to help me out while I'm out there live and about and doing things. So if you're interested, let me know. Yeah, and give me your resume on doing that sort of shit. Of course, yeah, that's what you take. So anyway, that's that for me. I'm gonna leave this and go and get me some more breakfast. Rock and roll. Thanks for hanging out stream today, mate. Thanks for letting me know what happened today, Potsky. Thanks for the alert, Marky Mo, and I'll catch you guys soon. Rock and roll. Thank you. Thank you. And let's use the thank you screen. Thanks, team. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll catch you soon.